Specters don the robes of lies, singing the song of shepherds. When a dream shatters in a trap or fail when on the run, doomed to be exiled and buried over and over again. When decisions become blades, when lies dictate everything, only by reaching deep into the soul.
Will redemption come?
Messenger, bringer of strange joy to Yuga through the void. Father of the million favored ones. Stalker among the stars. Through the sacrifice of you all. The truth shall now be revealed. Now this is the key shot. Detached from the pompous sham of this show, you can now listen to the whisperer in darkness among the stars.
don't want wasting or while I'm chasing you, you hate to hide it. 臆病さとにらめっこしたら逃げることはやめにして Gliding across the stuff me while you kiss it.
Controlling your heartbeat, you and I be together.
心の声に耳を澄ませば暗くなんかい夜が明ける路上在路上里对至今以来的爱毫不吝啬的表达感谢 Everybody sing now, sing our song. Everybody sing this song for you and
あ
me.
なたが未来を見せてくれた
もう何も怖くない Everybody sing our song. Everybody sing this song for you and
明
me.
日な明日へ歌うメロディー
Remember last time we had.
手を探しがめ新しい道をつないでく Sing all the time 'Some time I do feel that need you by my side. Forget about time, fine, I keep feeling it. 如果听到我心跳声，就手牵手奔跑吧。
对着老地方，不用另外找地方。在这里忘记时间流，是记录时间流。Get started，一起找配方。这是最后15刻，最最让你感到迷惘。但我们技术无法抵挡，不管让我们击掌，有彼此此刻才有了力量。
是不会忘记我们曾携手并肩。Everybody sing our song. Everybody sing this song for you and me. あなたと未来を共に生きてどんな壁も越えよう Everybody sing our song. Everybody
When, where, what, and why. Nothing escapes the eyes of a reporter.
A tragic haven occurred in the mines, burying the miners deep within. The incident has now claimed 13 deaths, with only one survivor.
Hide here and don't make a sound. Whenever in doubt.
Cursed child! Your family is
All because of horror. Whenever trouble strikes. Face it, and it'll all be over. That is what I've always believed.
There is no rebirth without pain. The whispers by my ear. The scars from the pain. I was once lost in superficial applause before I crossed path with that touch of red. When the throat is slit, everything I wished for comes true. A mark forever sealed between my eyebrows. On the night the jailbird lost its voice, we chose to go our separate ways. Yet, I returned once more. Tears ignited a glow in my eyes. Ashes were once flames.
That was the beginning and the end of everything.
I have thought about what I might encounter here. But everything I've encountered so far has still exceeded my expectations. The girl mentioned in here, Emma Woods. Is he back? Hunters? My gut told me it might be my only chance to unravel its secrets with my own hands.
Don't look back.
Stories that say the stars are far beyond our reach. Our stars? They are cursed. I'm going to see a real star. And leave this place.
can do it!
I once thought there was only laughter in the castle. Until that monster appeared, growling at me with the face of our father. Simon, can you hear me? Luckily, you can't. And I no longer hear.
I received a revelation to judge without mercy. Murderers must have their blades shattered. And the greedy must be depraved of welfare. Only then, when the flames of sin subside, the redeemed may regain a pious heart.
Compass, show me the way. Guide me to your master. No delay. Hold on, my friends. I shall save you at all costs. You there! Stop your evil experiment! The brave warriors will soon bring judgment. Warriors! Friends! The final battle is now in sight. No lies will ever deceive us after tonight!
Above the high tower, a utopia. Lord of Babel, a walking sun. Is this the belief you filled the minds of the ignorant with? The tower shall fall, new
lies will be treated as the word of God. The morning star is the true king. The ambitious are impure of heart, yet I insist on bestowing authority upon them. The surrendered are disloyal, yet I still fulfill their wish. As long as the dogs and crowns remain by my feet, who stays by me matters. No more. All of this I learned from you. How am I doing, my dear brother? My son. On that night, the blizzard laid waste to the plateau of Lane. She brought light before my corpse. She could have told me the bitter truth, so that I could escape the intolerable surge of emotions. She could have gouged out my eyes, so that I could not see the demons of hell in the skin of gods. Or his ugly face that is so unlike my own. But it matters not, for the secret is forever buried. After all, corpses do not speak. But the price of it all, her humanity fell into the bowels of the gods. Fret not, mother. The hunt of the gods ended on the night the blizzard laid waste to the plateau of Leng.
Racing against the time, I don't want wasted. Or while I'm chasing you, you hate to hide it. 臆病さとにらめっこしたら逃げることはやめにして Gliding across the stuff, me while you kiss it.
Controlling your heartbeat, you and I be together.
心の声に耳を澄ませば
暗くなんかい夜が明ける我想在路上里对至今以来的爱毫不吝啬地表达感谢 Everybody sing now, sing that song. Everybody sing this song for you and
あ
me.
なたが未来を見せてくれた
もう何も怖くない Everybody sing that song. Everybody sing this song for you and
明日
me.
な明日へ歌うメロディー
Remember last time we had.
新しい道をつないでく Sing all the time. 'Sometimes I do feel that need you by my side. Forget about time, I keep feeling it. 如果听到我心跳声，就首先说奔跑吧。
在这老地方不用另外找地方，在这里忘记时间流是记录时间流。Can't stop it，跟我一起找配方。是最无时无刻在追求你感到迷惘，但我们吃出发抵挡，不管让我们击掌，用彼此此刻才有了力量。
是不会忘记
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to day number 1 of the IVS qualifiers for the 2023 IVS. My name's Eli O, joined here with Potchspice, and we have the Malaysia region up first today. So for those of you who don't know, it is separated by each of the different countries in Southeast Asia. And today we will have our first match, which is between the two Malaysian teams.
Yeah, I'm super excited. We're kind of coming down from a high of IVC action. We're going to see some familiar team names here, but a bit of a shuffling of the team players. But
right.
I want to ask you, Eli, I mean, how have you been? Like, we just saw each other like how many days ago, but now we're back with IVS.
Yeah, pretty good. Obviously, I think it's like the first time where we've had like back-to-back tournaments in a row like this, but definitely very exciting. It's always nice to be able to watch these tournaments, to be able to commentate these events. So I'm doing really good. I actually just had my midterms this week for university, but we managed to get through that successfully. So the hard part is out of the way. Now we get the fun part. It's like you got to work all week, and then you have your fun on the weekend. So that's where we're at now. So I'm definitely very happy. How about yourself, Watch?
I'm doing great. I like what you said there. You know what? You have to get through the week to get to the weekend.
Yes.
Kind of weekend warriors here. I mean, we had an amazing turn of events in IVC, but now here's our match for today. Our single match for today, FT versus UTP. I would say a run back of the lower bracket finals, but with some missing pieces here and there because, as you said, you know what, this is a Malaysian team, two Malaysian powerhouse teams, so we won't be seeing the likes of Panda and other players from Team FT, and we're going to see some shuffling around of the players in Team Utopia as well.
Right, so those players, some of the players, obviously, that we saw in FT and Utopia, everyone is not just from Malaysia. There are some Singaporean players. So the Singaporean players will be competing on their own team for their own respective country in this tournament. However, it won't be today, of course, because this is Malaysian-only team. So we do have FT, I think, without Shiryuki and Panda are the two players that are Singaporean, will not be playing for this Malaysian FT team. And then we do have Utopia as well. With a few changes, we do have Meow Pie actually on this team, but listed as Survivor from what we were told. We will see that in a moment if that's actually true. It looks like Kuga, of course, still on the Hunter side for FT. And Potch, what can you tell us about Kuga? We saw some incredible gameplay from him last week.
Kuga was a beast. He was able to have back-to-back amazing performances, not only against UTP, but also against the defending champs, which was GH. So coming off of that previous performance, I think, you know, he's not going to miss a beat tonight. So hopefully UTP is going to come in with an extra fire because, I don't know, he was just playing out of his mind. As a Hunter main, Eli, what did you think of his performance in IVC?
Yeah, very impressive. We did see him struggle a little bit against GH with the Dream Witch, but after that, he turned things around. Nightwatch continuing to stay one of the strongest hunters in this game, if not the best, maybe even overtaking Dream Witch at some point. But Nightwatch has been a very formidable weapon for many of these hunters. So I definitely think we'll come and that'll definitely come out today, and we'll see that. Yeah. We'll see that probably make an impact here. Looking onto the survivors for FT, we do have Mini Blue, as we saw. Mini Blue did play last week, one of the Malaysian players listed as that forward. We did see him play a lot of Rescuer as well as Mercenary. I don't think he played much Kiter. We saw Prisoner last week. Was that Mini Blue that played that, or was that Dragon?
It was Dragon.
It was Dragon. Yeah. Okay.
I think it was a match you and Chocho were commentating, and I think that was a match that they won. Yeah, Mini Blue, you know, has been relegated as the rescuer. He was really forcing the forward, right? And me and Nell kind of also observed that, you know, forward doesn't make as much of an impact as he did previously. So we'll just have to see, because Mini Blue started to have more success when the forward was banned, or when he started to use other characters as well. I forget who, but I think him and Adi kind of switched roles, where Adi was actually the rescuer at one point, and Mini Blue took on the support role. So we're just going to have to see how he's going to play this one.
Yep, absolutely. We'll see if he goes back to that forward or not. It looks like we're going to have Shadow as well. Again, another Malaysian player listed as that coordinator. We've seen a lot of these Southeast Asian teams sort of adapt coordinator into their strategy, which is a bit curious, considering that coordinator does struggle against certain hunters such as Dream Witch, but we have found that coordinator is good against Nightwatch in the early game. If you take the first chase as coordinator against Nightwatch before they have their presence to use the dash, you can actually make a lot of distance, and that can be very impactful for a lot of these Nightwatch kites. So coordinator has been a strategy that FT in particular has really adapted. We've seen them play it more often than not in the early rounds. So we'll see if that does come out today.
Yeah, hopefully, because right in the qualifiers, we've seen a lot of Nightwatch just catch up to a late game gun. So hopefully that won't come into fruition, but we're going to see here Meow is going to be coming on in with another forward here. This is Meow Pie, right? coming in for his teammate FT here. So this is very interesting because Oxygen, we saw him in the qualifiers for IVC. He's a very good survivor, really good cowboy. But it was Kuga to kind of find the missing pieces to solve the puzzle that was Oxygen's cowboy. And now we get the pleasure of seeing Meowpie make his survivor debut in a big stage like the IVS qualifiers.
Yeah, absolutely. Very interesting to see that. We see that we have Meowpie on the survivor side, but it looks like Utopia is just gonna, or FT rather, is gonna take a bit of a different approach to this match. So yeah, Kuga on the Hunter side. Here again, I think it's just Kuga's just been so strong. We saw last week. I don't think you can really. I mean, he was definitely the MVP of the tournament for FT of the winning team. So it really doesn't get any better than that. So
and just to add, like you said, right, his Dream Witch performance was, I'll be honest, kind of a little lackluster. But for him to bounce back from that and even like get 4K and get even higher points against GH it really says something. And also using Spider, a hunter that GodJ has used a lot. So again, we'll talk more about Kuga later on. We're going to rounding out with Adi. Adi, you know what, the dancer, entomologist, and also brings out the mercenary when he can. A little shaky performance at the start of IVC, but he was able to fine-tune things up for him to be called one of the IVC champions.
Right, incredible stats as well. 72% win rate, 106 seconds on the containment time, with a 66% escape rate. This would typically be very good of a rescuer player, but because he actually also plays other characters such as female dancer, that's actually very impressive. Being able to escape that much when you also play other characters that aren't rescuers. Typically, rescuers will escape the most because they never really get chased, right? So, but as a kiting character, when he does bring out the female dancer and entomologist, like you mentioned, the ability to escape at that high of a rate is very, very impressive. And as you mentioned, did start off a little bit challenge, of a challenge, shaky in the early matches. But when it came to the playoffs and when it came to the finals, very good performance overall.
Yeah, really put things together. And now we're going to see Oxygen back on the Hunter side for UTP. Not sure if he brought Reptilian, but yeah, he's really known for a lot of hunters. I wonder who's going to bring out. I don't think he's going to bring it out first round, but you know, he's known to bring out different. Well, if he's in a good spot, if he's feeling cheeky, he might be bringing out Gamekeeper, but I hope not, because you know the stakes are pretty high here. It's it's IVS Asian Cup. They want to represent the region, and tonight in this BO3, he has a chance to be, you know, topple one of the winning, top the IVC champions.
Yeah, absolutely. 63% Hunter win rate, which is definitely pretty high in a pretty survivor-sided meta. So very nice to see. Almost 50%. I think that's a 4 elimination rate. It's not really loading. Okay, yeah, 4 elimination rate.
Yes.
So very high as well. I mean, we typically see the 4 elimination rates somewhere well below 20 for the most part, usually around 10%. So that's really impressive from Oxygen. So yeah, listed as the Evil Reptilian again, as you mentioned, most likely not going to see that, at least not in the first round. Potentially later rounds, it is definitely possible, but considering how the meta is currently, it's a bit unlikely, I would say.
And Run, I think she's brought out one Mind's Eye, but it's kind of like a foregone conclusion. But Run, really known as this prisoner, psychologist, any of the support roles, decoder roles mainly. One half, Run and Zed, usually one half of ZT, and then they disbanded and they formed UTP. I would say they're very Run's performance quite stable. She can kite if she has to, but it's really Zed that's like the ace up their sleeve. But Run still also can do the work.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, 61% win rate on the survivor side, very strong. 53% escape rate. Only 67 seconds on containment time, which is a bit lower. But we have seen Run play characters. I believe we've seen some rescue characters as well, so that would make sense that maybe this player doesn't get chased quite as much. 147 seconds of decoding again. Decoding for majority of these games, but something to note as well, that 61% win rate is very, very impressive. And we have seen, if I'm not mistaken, Run has sort of substituted out a few times, not always played, but we did see her a lot last week. So I'm very excited to see if Run will be playing today. We do have Rem as well. We saw Rem last week as well on Utopia. Only 32% win rate, definitely a lot lower than, doesn't really demonstrate how well his skill was. We saw him with some incredible kiting last week with that Embalmer. There was one match I remember where It was already essentially a 4-kill, but I think he looped the Night Watcher on a Paladin a window for like a good, well over a minute. Just very impressive. I don't even remember that, Posh, but that was it was a pretty fun.
Yeah, I think, that was, the crowd is going wild because me and Mel were at the crowd. I think it was you and Chocho covering that one. That was kind of insane. So hopefully he'll duplicate that same type of performance. Again, it's the win rate, sure, but it's just the snapshot of what they have been doing. But you just got to go back to the highlights, folks. If you guys haven't subscribed to the YouTube channel yet, go for it. Look for Rem's performance as the Embalmer. It was insane, and I really miss offline. So hopefully we get another one soon. But that's Rem in a nutshell. And while we're still on Rem, I just want to give a quick shout out to everyone that's watching. They're giving us shout outs in the chat. Maney, Idia Shroud, Itakwa, Caster, or Nano's there, Ivy, Rad, Rosa Parks, Maney, Cultivator. Love you guys. What's going on? We're going to see some amazing matches today. Eli, let's look at you now.
Yeah, so we do have you, who's actually been the rescuer player of Utopia. We haven't really seen any professor from him, so we'll most likely be looking at rescuer player characters such as Mercenary. You did have a bit of a hard time in some matches last week with the rescuer character, so we'll see if he's able to round out that issue. But I think we'll most likely see some strong gameplay here. Again, Utopia did finish a strong 3rd place overall in Southeast Asia, so I definitely think that you will, of course, be prepared as a week to prepare for this event, and they'll definitely put up a good performance today.
Yeah, I was actually with you in the airport, and he had like a huge duck with him. Did you see him like around the venue?
I saw the
he's a fun guy to talk to. So yeah, a bit of shaky performance in the offline, but in the qualifiers he was super stable. Like he's like he's up there with one of the best rescuers in the whole IVC. So hopefully he's able to give us some highlighted moments tonight with his rescue plays. And yeah, I don't recall him using a professor, but anything can happen. Maybe tonight he'll be able to bring that out, since there's a bit of shakeups in terms of the roster of the survivors and hunters as of late.
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll see if that is going to be a factor or not. And we also have Zed as well. It's been one of the stronger survivors on Utopia. No stats here, which is interesting considering we've seen Zed a lot throughout a lot of these Southeast Asia events. And we also saw Zed last year, we saw Zed this year, so he's been all over the place. But we also have of course listed as Prospector. He's been the main harassment player, not mercenary, Antiquarian and Prospector on the side of Zed here for Utopia. So definitely will be playing one of those stun support characters in today's matchup.
What's interesting is that I think FT was able to Kuga was able to kind of figure out how to manage Zed in their match in the lower bracket. Just take away this Prospector, then just ride the wave of Antiquarian, whatever stunner he has. I think at one point he played Coordinator, but in this meta it's not as impactful as his Prospector. So hopefully he's able to kind of find another solution if his signature character, his calling card of a character, does get banned, because he's given us a lot of hype moments with that Prospector.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll see if he has some more options today. But I don't know if Kuga's going to take that same approach, get rid of the Prospector early. I mean, considering we now are in a meta where the hunters have, they have the 2 early bans to start with, and then they have the auto bans as the match progresses. You could maybe give Prospector early, and potentially they choose it early, and then it gets auto banned.
Right.
Or you can just ban it every round. You don't have to worry about it at all. So those are both options here for Kuga to go with. But I mean, this matchup, I think going into this, really sure. I mean, we saw FT was able to beat, Utopia. I think it was the last week. He had to go to the 2-1. So we'll see if they're able to go at it again some slight changes on the rosters here and a different hunter for Utopia. But Utopia does get to lead with map selection. That is very important in a round like this, where it's a do or die match for both of these teams. The winner will qualify for this IVS event, whereas the other team will not. So it's really important to win that coin flip and get that map selection. Looks like Utopia will lead with Ever Slipping Town.
Yeah, getting one of the towns at the start is going to be so important. And I think, Eli, what we can go off of is the Kuga Survivor UTP matchup, because that is something that we have been seeing since last week. A big coin flip for us, or a big thing that we have to worry about, or not really worry about, but a big question mark for us, is how Oxygen's going to hunt, and how Meow is actually going to survive. Because I mean, it's still going to be pretty interesting to see how a survivor is going to, a hunter is going to adjust to being a survivor. So Again, a lot of questions are going to be answered here tonight, Eli, and everyone watching. Big shout outs to each and every one of you. This is day number 1 of the qualifiers, so let us know. Let your voices be heard in chat. Who you think is going to take it? Is it going to be the reign of FT or UTP is going to take this one? So, Ever Sleeping Town, Eli, how do you feel like this picks and bans are going to play out? Standard, or are we going to see anything interesting?
Yeah, it's interesting that we see Moonlit ban first. I think the idea is that if Kuga really wants to lead Dream Witch, you're not going to want to have to play in Moonlit. So that might be the main idea. I mean, you could still play Night Watch, but I think that must be the main idea here. We also know Oxygen has played Breaking Wheel a lot in the past. I don't know if that's a character he's still going to go with, considering Breaking Wheel obviously isn't very common in today's meta, but it is still definitely playable and something that you do have to consider. And now that you have a map like Ever Sleeping Town, that would be a strong map for this character. So it is definitely playable. It's definitely a possibility. And considering that you don't have your main support, harassment support player, Antiquarian Panda on the team, it's going to be a little bit easier potentially to play a character like Wheel for Oxygen here, Bodge.
Yeah, that's actually something to consider. So now FT are the survivors for this one. Oxygen, we haven't seen him since last year, I think, playing Hunter. I think it's in the IVS SEA Qualifiers. So I'm excited to see what he's going to bring to the table. So banning out the Seer and Toy Merchant to start things out, and it leaves a lot left to be desired. But I mean, they have their first picks in terms of the survivors here. Usually they'd want to go for that Toy Merchant at the start, but you still have access to like Acrobat, you got Dancer, you got other round picks, unless they're going to save it up for the next rounds.
Yeah, it looks like we're going to see Oxygen's actually not going to ban Priestess. He's going to give that up here. Looks like we're going to see Seer and actually Toy Merchant ban first, which is not really a character we see banned very early on, but it looks like that is going to be the case here. We do have Priestess and Antiquarian first for FT. So it's an interesting choice that we don't ban Priestess here as Oxygen. So I'm kind of trying to consider
Wheel?
what Hunter he might play. It could be, that you don't want to have to deal with Merchant as Wheel. Merchant is pretty strong against Breaking Wheel. But yeah, opening up to Priestess is not easy, especially on Ever Sleeping Town.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of people get looped by this Priestess. I mean, Little Boy, an example. If you allow him to use this Priestess in this map, he's going to connect from north to south and west to east. Just it's going to be real quick. So I second your motion there with probably he's gearing up towards a Wheel, and now he's banned the best rescuer in the game, Mercenary, taking that out of Mini Blue's arsenal. He's kind of forced to kind of go for the first officer or that forward just to secure it.
I think they could go Dancer here. They could go Dancer and then go forward or officer last, depending on what Oxygen bans. I think that would make the most sense. It looks like they're gonna go Gravekeeper instead, which is very interesting. Something that Gravekeeper is not one of the main rescuer characters currently when it comes to competitive. So I'm not really sure what FT's going with here. I mean, their reasoning could be that, we play Gravekeeper against Breaking Wheel, but in reality, forward or officer would still just be better for not only, I mean, they both work against Wheel, and they're more versatile against other hunters as well. Gravekeeper's only decent against Wheel, and that's pretty much it. So very, very curious decision from FT to go with this Gravekeeper.
Yeah, because it's kind of showing his hand, and now Oxygen has is he gonna lean towards the Wheel or just change up the Hunter completely? Because we have yet to see his Itako or his Night Watch. That's something that he can opt to bring out. And Gravekeeper, unfortunately, amongst the two rescuers as Mercenary First Officer, doesn't really cut it. And Mini Blue with his signature forward, it's going to be a little tough. But now batting out the Acrobat, allowing Dancer, but no, decides to go for the Prisoner.
For I think that's Patient. Yeah, they're gonna
Patient,
go,
sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, no, they're going to go Patient. Patient's pretty good against Breaking Wheel as well. As soon as they get out Wheel form, you can just use your hook to make distance and transition really well. You can hook over traps. So there's a lot of ways where Patient can be very good against Breaking Wheel. Now, I think that's the idea, is they're trying to deal with that character, deal with the Breaking Wheel, but I don't think Gravekeeper is the way to do that. I still think forward could be a lot more beneficial. Also, Female Dancer is very good against Wheel as well. So while Breaking Wheel cannot be stunned in Wheel form, he can still be slowed down. So you actually get slowed down by the slow boxes. So there's some ways where Breaking Wheel can struggle against Dancer there, but looks like they're gonna go with this strategy here. No stunner on the forward side. We do have Antiquarian for support, but with no Panda, we do have a different Antiquarian player, which it currently shows Meowpie, but we're not actually sure just yet. It will, I think it's gonna potentially change it around once we have all the picks.
Oh, it is Meow.
Oh, no, it is Meowpie. Okay, there you go.
Hunters usually want to go for harassers. I think they like that sense of control, just to down or just at least inflict that violence. So Meowpai on his debuting Antiquarian. So now all eyes are on Oxygen and who he'll be picking. I know we've been talking about Breaking Will because it seems very likely because he can possibly go for it, but like you mentioned, you know, it's gonna be tough for the patient to be after. But I'm also thinking, you know, Priestess, you can just go through the portals. It should be all right. And he's actually gonna go for the Wax Artist, Eli.
Yeah, this is interesting. Wax Artist struggles heavily against Priestess, so
yeah.
I think he was originally trying to go with a Breaking Will strategy, and then he changed it up based off of the team comp. But I still think Wheel would have been okay.
Stronger,
yeah, because I mean, you know, you wouldn't ban Seer right away if you're gonna play Wax. If you're gearing up to play Wax Artist, you wouldn't ban Seer immediately.
Don't mind.
Exactly, and you probably wouldn't ban Merchant first. You'd probably ban it later if you're really worried about it because of this map, but you wouldn't ban it right away. So this was definitely Breaking Wheel bans. And I guess based off of the team comp, he's going to change to Wax, but I actually think that Breaking Wheel still would have been just as good as Wax, because if you think about it, you know, you still have Patient, which can make a lot of distance against Wax Artist. You still have Priestess for support. So overall, I think Wheel or Wax both work equally well against this team comp.
Yeah. I'm also recalling in qualifiers, I forget which team it was, but it was Wax Artist versus a Gravekeeper, and it would just we got looped so much in the graveyard side, and I just hope Oxygen realizes that he has to make haste here, because then not only do they have kiteability, they also have mobility with the Patient and Priestess. So again, we thought it was going to be a Breaking Wheel that's going to come out, but he chose to go for the Wax Artist. And Oxygen, hopefully he'll save that wheel for later on. But now looking at the spawn locations here, it seems like Adi, Shadow, and Mini Blue are just going to surround Oxygen, while Meow is over at the top middle part there in between the graveyard and the corner house. So first chase, Eli?
Yeah, it's pretty tough. I think your first chase would ideally be Antiquarian as a Wax Artist player, but he'll probably have to go for Patient. You could theoretically go Priestess first, and then you eliminate that support character, but you go Priestess, it's Ever-Sleeping Priest, it's not easy to secure it down. Now, Oxygen could be going Wax Artist, I just thought of this, could be going Wax Artist because he's thinking they're all going to go Flywheel. Because they might all go Flywheel in preparation of the Breaking One. We do see that from two of the survivors here, so this could be the reasoning for switching to Wax Artist, is he sort of baited them into thinking, oh, I'm going to play Wheel with a Seer and Merchant ban, and then they all play Flywheel, and then you go Wax Artist here. So I think that might be the idea with the strategy. But yeah, here we are getting into the first half of the first round. We have the UTP Hunter versus FT Survivors. I'm Elio, joined with Potch Spice, and we will be bringing you the live commentary for this IVS match.
And here we go, folks. Again, Wax Artist in Ever Sleeping Town. The debuting once again Oxygen on this Wax Artist is going to be very interesting. Seems like the heartbeat is going to be on that Patient. Mini Blue is going to take this first kite, but no, Oxygen makes a hard right, going straight for Adi, which is one of the this cipher control at the center is going to be super important for him. But Adi just immediately just tries to create that distance. He's going to use the shovel right away. He's already dropped down a pallet. He also has the portal to go through if he wants to just escape from this area.
Yeah, he's going to take that portal. He's just going to go ahead and break it here. And I think he is considering that Priestess might be over in this area, but she's actually not. She is all the way in Graveyard. So it looks like he doesn't have a target to chase just yet. Does have, it looks like we have Detention, Trump Card, and Blink here. So he doesn't have Teleport, he doesn't have Insolence, so this slow early game for Oxygen is going to be very strong for the Survivors. Looks like he's going to chase onto the Patient here, which is probably a pretty good target, and there's no pallet to work with as well, but Patient can, of course, easily make it to this corner house building using this hook to go up the stairs here. He can get a lot of wax in the process here, but he is in the corner house. As we know, this is a very strong kiting area. Oh, goes right into the Wax Artist, and he gets a drop down hit with no attack recovery. Unfortunate misstep from Mini Blue, and that is a huge position for Oxygen, and he has Blink, and he's just down.
Wow, yeah, he just goes for it, but the flywheel just makes him extend a little bit, but down he goes. Oxygen again. Late start for him, but that that drop down, I actually thought he had the right idea. He was gonna fake going to the right and then just hide by the window, but Oxygen just running the routes. He was really able to capitalize on overextension, and now it's going to be a little tough. Adi has his work cut out for him, while Oxygen has his first survivor. He's well on his way for a tie.
That is a prediction that sometimes hunters will go for, is they go downstairs instead of going upstairs to chase the survivor, and you try to predict that they're going to drop down the hole, which instead of going to the window, which is in this case is exactly what Mini Blue did. That's why it's usually a bit safer to go for the window instead. But yeah, he predicted Mini Blue would fall through the hole, and he did, and that worked out perfectly. Goes for the hit, does not get a terror shock. Beautiful job from the Gravekeeper to pull off there, and we do have a long portal set up as well, and Oxygen's actually going to leave the patient and chase the Gravekeeper here. I guess he acknowledges that Gravekeeper's shovel is on cooldown, so if he can get this down before the shovel is available, then he will have a quick down, but the shovel's
it's back
online.
Yeah, and he also has a portal to work with, forcing Oxygen to break it. He's already on the shovel. He's going to transition away. He's going to buy some attack recovery here, but he can kind of snipe him down with this wax.
Yep. Beautiful. Yeah, it's an excellent job from the Priestess to set up that play. Now keep in mind here, Gravekeeper does not have shovel yet, so he can go down to this wax bomb. But the last two ciphers already 10%, 35%, enough progress for the survivors to win. They have expended their tide turner. Will Oxygen push basement here? Is he just going to chair? Looks like he's going to chair right over here, but this is the first chair here for the Gravekeeper. He still has about half a shovel to work with here. So rebound kite potential is there. The cypher progress is there, so it's looking really good for FT. He's going to block off this pallet, but he can just portal through, of course, as it is a Priestess.
So yeah, he's forced to clean up that long portal. Shadow is well on his way to rescue this Gravekeeper. Gravekeeper does have an item to work with, but the ciphers aren't ready just yet. He's going to switch to the hot wax. He's going to try to down the Priestess in the process. Able to get the down onto the Priestess. Adi, though, going to the second floor here, create that separation, but Oxygen realizes that the ciphers are not in his favor. He's going to go for a basement play here, Eli.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, this is his best play. The Cypher Machine will be ready. The question is going to be if the survivors can actually make the save successfully. They're going to have to go for a double rescue here. You really don't want to push single rescue on this sort of this basement play against a full presence wax artist. Gravekeeper, of course, can actually just go straight into basement with that shovel. As long as the Antiquarian can distract here, they should be able to make the rescue. Misses the swing there.
Meow has to be very careful. He's at 76%, but Gravekeeper has already made his way downstairs. He's going to get the rescue. Oxygen needs to camp this out, so now the double rescue is going to happen. The healing is actually going to happen also in the process. Well, Meow tries to distract accordingly, but Oxygen can sense something in the horizon here. He's going to go for some wax, but the Gravekeeper has already been healed up. Antiquarian, 96%. Priestess at 100%. Wax drop down.
He can get a drop down, but he misses. He actually misses the drop down here. Goes for it again. And the flywheel, and they all make it out of basement alive. Now, it's still not great because the wax artist can still go for a hot wax play onto the Priestess. So the Antiquarian has to body block the hot wax here. It's going to get to about 97, but he's going to portal away, and the pallet's on, and now he can still do the end game.
The Priestess able to portal away again. That's one of the things we were worried about. Adi might have to take this endgame kite. He has no more items left to work with. Oxygen wants to down him right away. He still has trump card and with a potential teleport, but the other exit gate's going to be opening up soon, Eli, and Adi's buying so much time.
Yeah, he's going around these pallets, goes for the swing through the pallet, does get the down. Eventually, you're going to have to drop one of those pallets, but it looks like Oxygen did finally get that hit. And that's going to secure one kill here, but 3 survivors out the exit gate here for FT, which means they take a 3-1 early lead here. And it's looking really good for them so far. I mean, I really do think Breaking Wheel could have been maybe a little bit better there. In that Wax Artist is, I think both hunters work fine against that team comp. I guess the idea again is that try to assume they're going to go for a bunch of flywheels, which they did go for, but they continued to trade places on the rocket chair. I think that was definitely the big, sort of the important factor for that game.
Yeah, again, it was an excellent performance by the survivor side, but let's kind of take it back, Eli, because they didn't have the best outing with Mini Blue falling down, but how were they able to rectify that situation? Because it seemed like, oh yeah, Oxygen had a foothold in that match early on.
Yeah, they definitely had good rotation early game. That was a pretty important situation. They were able to avoid getting chased for a while. And then at the point where he did go for the patient, he was able to get an instant down. So that was a pretty big turnaround. I think he could have pushed basement. I think that would have been a little bit better maybe to push basement. I think he's worried that it's like, okay, well, you have Priestess, you have Gravekeeper to worry about. But on a map like Ever Sleeping Town, that corner house basement, you can see the rescuer coming from a long distance. If you go stand outside the building, you can look around, you can see where the rescuer is coming from. So there's no way for them to sneak in and make the rescue sort of like behind the basement, because you'll always be able to see them, right? So I think in a basement like that, I think Oxygen should have pushed the basement on the first chair on the patient.
That could have been different because, right, they went for that double rescue, Gravekeeper, Priestess. And yeah, he chose, then they kind of played that musical chair. So it was just a little unfortunate because that's when, once they got that rescue going, that's when the momentum started to shift on the Survivor side. Rotations were excellent. They were really able to push the objectives accordingly. Could have gone worse for him, but at least he denied the 5-point game. It's a 3-1. But now that they have to feel the wrath of Kuga that's coming off of IVC. Again, we might be putting too much stock on Kuga right now, but I mean, with his performance in IVC, I think it's warranted that he might go for more than just a three-man kill.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you know, he'll probably just lead Dreamwitch again here. I think that's fine, considering that you have an early lead here. It's one of those situations where, as a hunter, you can take two approaches. You can take a
passive
passive and conservative approach and just play for a tie, or you can be aggressive and try to add as many points as possible. That is also a possibility that we might see happen here. So that could be Kuga's approach, and we usually do see him be a bit of a conservative hunter, but he does have those high win potential hunters that he does play in the early rounds. So I think he'll probably end up playing those. His play style is a bit conservative, but the hunters he plays are aggressive. So I think that's what we'll probably see. We're going to see Dreamwitch or Nightwatch more likely than not here. And we'll just see how many kills he's able to get with that.
Yeah, and hopefully the survivors of UTP, because this is the rematch we were waiting for. Hopefully the survivors are going to be ready for that because, very conservative play style from what we known. In IVC, he was really pushing it to the limit. But his hunters definitely don't scream conservative. I don't think I've even seen him use a wax artist, so they could definitely take that off the table. But any other highlights from the match that you wanna talk about, Eli?
Yeah, I think a big again, one of the big factors was just trading places on the rocket chair. Sometimes this works, sometimes this doesn't, because typically you only have one tide turner. And we saw that in this match. You have tide turner for the first rescue, then you don't have that again, and the hunter also has full presence. So while the cyber progress may be enough, it's not always a win position because you don't have a safe rescuer, or you don't have a tide turner, or the hunter has full presence, or something like that, right? And it can be a difficult rescue, and it's hard to rebound. But they were able to continually get the survivor off chair over and over there. I'm trying to think of, it's better for Oxygen to hit the survivor that went through the long portal. I think probably he could have just done that. Not Meow Pie. Mini Blue was down pretty fast early game. So he was able to go through the portal and then hit the image of the patient, and then go to the other side. Priestess could probably get the heal off one time, but by then you could still catch up and then just maybe down patient again. And I guess maybe he didn't want to have to deal with Priestess support and all that. But yeah, I mean, he just decided to stick with the Gravekeeper, and he never pushed basement until the end, and I think that was a big missed opportunity.
Yeah, at the start, he could have actually pushed a lot more pressure. Just the kind of farming off a hit off Mini Blue would have been great as well. I think you called it out. Maybe he didn't want to deal with the hooks because Mini Blue, I think, had like 2 or at least 1 hook left and decided to go for the Gravekeeper, but kind of played into the advantage of Team FT as we look at the stats here. I would say everyone kind of did their roles accordingly. Everyone was pushing ciphers. Adi was going for the rescues here and there. He was the sacrificial lamb. He kited for a long time, especially when the detention was up. So without items in that spot, really forcing the mind game, not dropping those pallets. So that's definitely a worthy highlight for him. And everyone, just playing the roles to a T. So I can't wait to see more of FT survivors. And hopefully Oxygen bounces back from round number 2. But that's all she wrote, folks.
Yep. So now a lot of pressure on Utopia survivors here to sort of work out of this one. And this was, Utopia did choose Ever Sleeping Town. They were able to get the win on the coin flip. They're able to choose their map early on here. So it was, this is exactly what they wanted to be able to pick a map like this. But with the Hunter side having a difficult early game here, this is, I mean, now the survivors definitely have a lot of pressure to try to turn things around here. So that's going to be really important to see if they're able to put up a good show against Kuga. Now, keep in mind, last week we did see GH actually get a 4 survivor escape on this map against Kuga in the first round.
True.
So that is on the table for Utopia here, but it's definitely not easy.
Definitely not. Again, what is at stake here, folks, is to represent Malaysia. The Malaysia division is up for stakes here between UTP and FT, since this is day number 1 of IVS. So yeah, FT being the IVC champs, coming in with a whole bunch of momentum. UTP coming in with that underdog mentality in this one, especially with how this game played out. So it's 3-1. Kuga, again, yes, he has been on a tear as of late, but that doesn't mean he's unbeatable. So let's hope that UTP survivors will be able to make this one a close one, since the Malaysia division is up for grabs.
Yep. So yeah, just again, we're gonna see. I'm interested to see how Utopia survivors go. What their approach is here. They could go with anti-Dream Witch, which we've seen a lot of teams do that. They could try to go anti-Dream Witch against Kuga. He usually still will play Dream Witch, and so that could be the idea, is that, you know, maybe they're thinking, well, if Kuga's very confident in his Dream Witch, we could play anti-Dream Witch and get ourselves a good matchup. Of course, there's a possibility of switching to Night Watch or some other hunter. But, you know, I mean, I think that could be a logical approach here. There are many characters in this game that are strong against Night Watch and Dream Witch. You have rescuer characters such as Mercenary. You have kiting characters such as Acrobat, which are very good against both hunters. Psychologist, you can take many hits. And so that could be characters that are very important. But I don't. It's still just really challenging being down 3-1 right away on your map selection. Already a lot of pressure on the survivors. So definitely an uphill battle here for them.
Yeah, it's gonna be tough for them. Even though, you know, these survivors are very formidable, we've seen them in big stages before. This is a lot of pressure, and coming off of IVC, they did trade wins off of each other from the qualifiers to the big stage, but it is FT that has won over UTP. So if we go for like a fantasy draft, if Kuga is going to be on that Dream Witch, Eli, and we know the survivors of Team UTP, I mean, what kind of survivors would come to mind if you're able to do like a fantasy draft for an anti-Dream Witch to come out of UTP?
Well, considering we'll probably see Seer Priestess as the first 2 bans, you're probably not going to go Mercenary right away because you don't want to have that character banned for the rest of the series. So, with Seer Priestess banned first, I think it makes the most sense to lead Psychologist, and you could go Antiquarian right away. You'd lose it for the rest of the series, but I think it makes most sense considering that you don't want to fall behind early on here. So you can lead Psychologist, you can lead Antiquarian, or you can lead Antiquarian and Acrobat. That's also a possibility. Or Psychologist and Acrobat. So some combination of those characters. Kuga probably goes Mercenary next ban, and then you pick up another Dream Witch counter. So whether that's the Psychologist or the Acrobat or maybe a Barmaid, you don't necessarily want to go Barmaid right away because Barmaid's pretty weak to the Night Watch. But you could go with one of those characters, then Kuga probably bans some Dream Witch counter, and then you could maybe end with something like Embalmer or Toy Merchant, something along those lines. That would be pretty good for a map like Ever Sleeping Town, and then you just go from there. But again, we have seen the Prospector get banned early as well. So Prospector is playable against Night Watch and Dream Witch. So if Kuga goes with an early Prospector ban, that's actually really good for the survivors because it opens up more of those counters, especially for a map like this, such as Priestess. Maybe Seer would be open. There's maybe Mercenary would be open. So there's many ways in which the survivors have a good set of bans lined up for them. It's just, can they apply them to this match and potentially get a 3 escape for themselves?
That's so interesting because, as you mentioned, like Zed really known for being the Prospector. It kind of already puts a red flag in the Hunter that I need to ban this Prospector. But while doing that, if they're so focused on the Prospector, this opens up Utopia's arsenal to actually be more creative with the lineup. Like you said, that could leave open Mercenary, that could leave open Toy Merchant, Dancer, any of the other really good survivors. But since they're gearing towards a Kuga Dream Witch, maybe they're going to try and opt for that. And hopefully we get to see that, you know, like you mentioned, maybe Antiquarian, Antiquarian, Psychologist, or Acrobat at the start, and then have an Embalmer, Toy Merchant towards the middle there, then pick a really stable Rescuer towards the end. That's the ideal scenario, but I also want to mention to everyone that his Night Watch is also very deadly, so he could also bring that out. Who knows? But hopefully they'll be able to cover all their bases in this next half of the first map.
Now, did we see last week when it was FT versus Utopia? Did he ban Prospector early on, or did we see that character come? I actually don't remember. Do you happen to remember
last
that
week? This in the offline?
Yeah. So when it was Utopia versus FT for that third place.
For the first game, I don't think he banned it. But wait, actually, I think he did, because I'm trying to recall offline, and I really want to recall like Zed highlights. It was only Zed was only able to play Prospector against GH once, because they didn't ban it at the start. So if he didn't, it didn't play a big factor. Maybe he was able to counter it, but my guess was he did ban it, because we haven't seen his Prospector in a minute. Like, it's been a while.
Yeah, definitely. We'll definitely I'll go back and check that when we get the chance. But
if Chocho's listening, please help us out here. The stats wizard. But if you guys also want to chime in, let us know also if that did happen. So what were you driving towards there, Eli? If he did ban it,
I was gonna say if he bans Prospector early, and you go Seer Prospector first, and then you get a situation in which Chocho said yes, sir. I don't even know what that means. That's not helpful at all.
Did he ban it? Yes, sir. What?
Yes, sir. I don't know if she's saying yes, sir, as in like she acknowledges
that we
were
just
talking to her, or yes,
yeah.
sir, is he banned it at some point, but I don't know when. But yeah. So yeah, you could go Seer Prospector first. It does open up Priestess. So then you could have like Priestess Antiquarian, Priestess and Acrobat, Psychologist, something like that.
So I don't know who Chocho's calling sir. Is it you or me? Because we just asked both their questions. She goes, yes, sir. I'm gonna check now. While she's checking that now, I just want to check on everyone in the chat. I see Mello is in the chat. Give him some love. Also, he will be here tomorrow for the Thailand division qualifiers. Also with Chocho. And I also see Hanako in the chat. Maney up. FFF is also there. Any shout outs you want to give out, Eli, while we wait for this information?
Yeah, I was just looking at the other thing, but yeah, I think you got most. I actually don't have the chat up. I was looking at the match from last week. I was trying to figure out if he did. So I actually did. We actually did see. So it looks like he actually bans Prospector. He banned it as the 4th character in the first round. So the first round he actually didn't ban the Prospector early, but he did. They opted not to choose Prospector. Maybe they're hoping to get it as their 4th character selection. But he actually banned it as the 4th character. So that might be an approach for Kuga. I mean, it worked last week. FT was able to win, so we could see that happen again today for sure. Let's see if I wonder if he banned it in the 2nd round as well. I'll go ahead and check that in a second.
Chocho's like, yes, that. Eli carrying the research here. 2nd round, he did not.
So he didn't ban it, but it looks like they did choose Prospector first, so that's why he wasn't able to ban it. It looks like. I think Prospector was they did choose it in the first 2. So in the first round, so in the first round he did ban it as the 4th ban, but in this the 2nd round they did choose it in the first 2. So.
Okay, thank you, Eli. Thank you, Chocho, also for chiming in with us in the caster chat. And thank you guys as well for tuning in. Now this is the 2nd half of the 1st round. Again, FT is up by 3-1 up against UTP, and Kuga has been on a tear as of late. UTP has been facing Kuga since last week, so hopefully they found something. Except you, actually. Well, yeah, actually, this is the exact lineup for the Survivor, so this is definitely a run back. So now, Antiquarian Priestess to get banned out at the start, and easily going for Seer and Barmaid. So if this doesn't stream Dream Witch counter, I don't know what does.
Yeah, so very interesting that he doesn't ban. So typically it would be okay to just ban. If you wanted to get rid of Antiquarian, you could go Seer Antiquarian and give up Priestess. They wouldn't go Barmaid here if Seer was banned, because Seer Barmaid is such a strong play in which you you take a hit, then you use your drink, and then while the drink's activated, then you use the Seer Owl. So normally they wouldn't choose Barmaid right away because Barmaid's weak to Night Watch, but because you have Seer and Barmaid on the same team, now it actually becomes strong because you take the hit, use the drink, use the Owl to prevent yourself from getting hit again for and you can last out that 20 seconds, and then that drink activates, and then that's actually good against Night Watch and also good against Dream Witch. So very curious decision from Kuga not to ban Seer. I think he actually just overlooked that play here from UTP.
I think it's because Seer has been a non-factor as of late, or like it's immediately just auto-banned, that maybe it kind of overlooked it. Because yeah, Ram being a really good Seer, he could definitely run this character, especially with this combination of Barmaid. And this also allows them to double down on the Prospector, not using it now and using it in the next round. So it seems like Kuga not off to a great start with the picks and bans. Actually, don't know what his third ban was. Did he even allow a third ban? We're just gonna get confirmation with that. Oh, the third band's Female Dancer. Okay, so that's also another good ban, but that kind of you're kind of walking into the strongest survivor that Zed could run, which is the Prospector.
Yep. So with the Dancer ban, you don't really ban Dancer as Dream Witch. I mean, you can, but we usually see that for Nightwatch. So maybe he actually wants to play Nightwatch. We're not too sure. Yeah, looks like we're gonna see Mercenary is the last one. That does definitely make sense. You want to ban some Rescuer character here. It is going to be the Mercenary. And now Utopia has a few options. You can go First Officer, which is the most standard, but you could go Forward as well. We've seen Forward be a bit of a factor in some of these matches. Looks like they're going to go Wildling, which is actually okay as well. I actually think Wildling is also better than Gravekeeper, but it looks like we're going to see Wildling here as the last character. And Wildling is good because Wildling is unchaseable by the majority of the hunters in this game, Dream Witch and Nightwatch being both of those two hunters. Because in Wildling is actually faster than the hunter speed. When he's on the board, he's faster than the hunters. So the only real hunters that can actually catch him are things like Soul Weaver, maybe Gamekeeper, or maybe something like Anne. But hunters such as Dream Witch and Nightwatch don't really have much counterplay to Wildling. So he's unchaseable. He can get all the way up to the chair uninjured without getting cut off from a distance. It looks like Kuga actually will go Nightwatch here.
Yeah, so just not wasting any time. He's going to bring out one of the hunters that has wreaked havoc in this tournament for himself. Again, he just needs to actually, if you think about it, he just needs to go for a tie to secure this first round. And it's a pretty strong start for them in picks and bans, like you mentioned, you know, with the Seer Barmaid combo, having Zed on that Priestess, and Wildling being pretty much unchaseable. But you know, we look past the Kuga factor here. He was able to make Nightwatch work in Hospital, and he got a 4K up against GH, the strongest Southeast Asia survivors out there. So cannot be overlooked in this one. But overall, Eli, how do you think of how the picks and bans went?
Yeah, I think it's pretty good for the survivors. They have a good comp against Nightwatch. Prospector is a good kiter and supporter against Nightwatch. You have the Seer to improve that potential kite as well. You have the Seer to help the Barmaid out. Now I'm very curious, where does Kuga go first? Does he go straight for Seer here, or does he actually go for the Prospector? I think it probably is a little bit better to go Seer first, because Prospector, you know, you have Magnets, you have Seer Owl, and Prospector is a pretty good kiter against Nightwatch. So many ways in which the Prospector is going to be able to kite this Nightwatch pretty effectively. So it could definitely expect to see Seer chase first. We're also going to see Blink almost 100%. There's no reason to bring excitement for single Prospector, especially when you have multi-hit characters such as Seer and Barmaid. But yeah, looks like they do have double broken, so they were in preparation of a potential Nightwatch. So they are definitely ready for this. Looks like Zed is going to go Flywheel. Pretty standard for a harassment character. And yeah, here we go. We have the second half of the first round of FT versus Utopia, FT Hunter versus the Utopia survivors. I'm Eli O, joined with Posh Spice, and we will be bringing you the live commentary for this IVS qualifier match.
And here we go, folks. UTP versus FT second half. We're already seeing some action here at the graveyard side. And I believe that is Zed. Zed's going to take this first kite. You know what? He has magnets. He has an owl. Kuga has his work cut out for him. He's already absorbed a magnet. So let's see how this one's going to play out. Good stun at the start for Zed.
Yeah, very important stun there. That's going to give him enough distance to make it to the window without taking any hits. So that's a really good start here for Zed. Now the question is, Kuga did waste his win there too. So, Zed's going to vault this. Do they have the Seer Owl ready? Looks like no, they're not gonna go for that Owl right away here. So he's also kiting towards a U as well, the Wildling. Zed has Flywheel, he could potentially make it through. Oh, Flywheel, oh, but they give Owl with the Flywheel, so a bit of a miscommunication from Utopia here. But already a lot of Cypher progress here, probably 75% on 2 of those Cypher machines.
UTP really known for that Cypher rush, but yeah, that sequence, at least Kuga does not have to worry about an Owl coming in anytime soon. He's gonna use the suction, but the push to counter it, he's just gonna dash straight into him, and Zed does not have any magnets to work with anymore. Out in the open here, Yu has already expended his boar, and now he could just go chair Zed. Now it's gonna be tough because the Cypher has not been completed just yet. Barmaid and Seer have already done their Cypher, and Kuga is gonna go for a basement play here, Eli.
Yeah, basement's actually fine for the survivors. This is one of those situations where Wildling is really good because, as we talked about, Wildling can make it all the way to the chair uninjured, right? So you can just ride the board straight down the stairs, and there's really nothing the Hunter can do to stop you, and you can just get that free rescue. So as you see, yep, Yu's already on that board. He already knows, he already acknowledges what he needs to do here. Now, again, the Cyphers are definitely slow. Only 30% on Yu Cypher, so that's really going to be a downside for Utopia. I don't know if they're going to have enough time to finish those Cyphers here. We're going to see him attract onto the board here. He's going to get that hit there, but he can just jump off the board, go for the rescue. Does he get the save before half? He gets the save before half. Perfect rescue from the Wildling there. Doesn't even get injured in the process, which actually means he can save a second time. So excellent job from you here.
Yeah, nerves of steel, how he was able to get that rescue from happening. Unfortunately, Zed did get farmed off of, but it's all good. He can go for that second one while the while the priestess, the seer and the barmaid continue on decoding. Now, like you said, Cypher progress isn't so good. The last Cypher sitting at 29% near the basement, but now Kuga deciding not to go for it. He's going to try and collect some wind stocks here and clean up some pallets while everyone still keeps on decoding. Yu's already making his rotation for the rescue.
So what needs to happen here is Yu wants, he's going to get on the boar. I was going to say it's better to go for the save without using the boar.
And save it.
Because, and then you can use it to harass after they rescue, right? So now he's going to have to body block. That's his only play. There's no harassment play anymore, most likely, unless Zed can kite over 30 seconds. So we're going to see the rescue goes to the magnet. He hits him right away. They weren't able to get a body block. They're going to try to go for a pallet camp here. He's going to hit the Wildling through the pallet. And the Wildling just has to leave here. So the Cypher machine is only 40%. That's not enough. And see, if Wildling had boar here, they could go for a harass potentially. So now that's no longer on the table. So unfortunately, you did miss out on that opportunity there. Had an excellent first save, but unfortunately, did use up that board for the second one. He's going to cancel the Tinnitus here with that whistle, but Kuga already has the Tinnitus back, acknowledges somebody is here, but excellent hiding job here from the Seer, and Kuga's gonna have to change targets, it looks like.
Yeah, doing a great job is Run, just ducking in the pallets here while Rem is trying to push that Cypher. Kuga still has detention to work with, so a tie is very imminent for him, but the survivors of UTP do not want to give up. You might actually be the next target that the board is ready for. Maybe actually just farm off more hits off of UTP's U here. He's going to get him off the board. That's not going to be enough for them to finish the Cypher, and he's the most stable rescuer. Run is still hiding, Eli, and I don't know if Kuga's going to catch wind of where the Seer is at.
It looks like no, which is okay. I mean, Seer has to go for the rescue anyway. Still hasn't seen the Seer, so pretty good job. I wonder if Run was able to farm any Owl during that time as well. It could be possible, but unfortunately, Wildling is chaired near the last Cypher machine. Now, they do have progress spread out on 2 different Cyphers here, so that's pretty good for the survivors. So they definitely position themselves well to tie this match, but they do need a 3 escape if they want to tie up this round.
Note that also the dungeon is at the school gate area. Rem is going to have to take this next kite. He can also get the speed boost just in case, but he's just going to try to harass as much as possible. Barmaid has already used the drink up, but Kuga can catch up so easily. That Cypher isn't primed just yet. Oh my god, Kuga needs to get one more, and he's able to get a downed Barmaid. Wildling is still on the rocket chair, while Run might have to go for this rescue. It seems like Kuga is going to bring the Barmaid even closer to you.
Yeah, he's going to use this for no attack recoveries, I think. No, maybe he's going to go... Yeah, he's going to use this for no attack recovery here. He's going to have to drop eventually, or else they will struggle free. He's going to go for that drop there. But yeah, the problem here is that, no one's able to finish that last time. We're going to see Seer coming for the rescue. Does take that hit there. We see Seer, I believe, almost farmed that Owl all the way. First hit onto the Wildling. Blinks to get the Wildling off the board, and now he can potentially secure the down. Does get the down onto the Wildling Cypher machine. not ready just yet. It was really important that Yu was not able to, or was able to avoid getting hit early on the board. He got the first hit right away, and then he got a second hit with the blink, using that blink there perfectly timed. And now it's all of a sudden a winning position here instead of a tie position.
Yeah, that final sequence, he was really cashing in all the hits there just so he can down that wildling, and now they just gotta split push these two ciphers. Kuga though knows that the wildling's out, no one's feeding him tinnitus falsely. Well, I think he spots or maybe sees that maybe Rem is gonna try to touch a cipher. Kuga now, I mean, he's got the mobility to work with, and now he's gonna catch Rem out here in the open.
Looks like he's just gonna try to kite right here as long as possible. We'll be able to get the heal off, so that's really important. Run rather is on the last cipher now, so we know Kuga does not have any sort of trump card, so Rem is gonna take this first hit. Needs to stay alive until the cipher's prime. I think he's gonna be able to do so, unless he gets hit this way. He does get hit at the pallet here. Kuga's gonna probably jump the pallet. He's gonna jump the pallet.
Can he pick it up in time? Wow.
It's not ready. And unfortunately, I thought Rem was really gonna be able to kite that out. If he actually just stood near the pallet, waiting for him to jump over the window, he could have just vaulted the pallet, but he ran too far away from the pallet. And all of a sudden, Kuga can now 4-kill.
Yeah, the tension's in the air. Run is nowhere near an exit gate. He's actually near the dungeon area, but Kuga does not know that just yet. Run is trying to rotate towards the first exit, so if no one's here, he's gonna try to spot him out in the process here. The graveyard gate. Run not gonna get intercepted, but slamming down that pallet, 2 pallets here, but he could actually just break one and just hop over the other one. So let's see if Run's able to farm off an owl here. Already got one.
Yep, so it does have an owl here. Whoa. Oh, doesn't use the owl. Oh, Run unfortunately wasn't able to use the owl there, and that's going to be a 4 survivor elimination for Kuga. You know, we've seen Kuga come a long way, right? I mean, it's been, I remember last year before IVC, I think it was like IVA was Kuga's first big performance. And, you know, Kuga did, I think back then Kuga was all right, sort of middle of the pack hunter, nothing too special, was able to tie here and there, did lose a few games. And then IVC came around, saw Kuga get even stronger, was able to win some more games. You know, did struggle a lot against GH in the finals, did struggle in some other matches as well. But then now to this point, this year, a whole year has passed. And now Kuga is arguably one of the best hunters in Southeast Asia overall. I mean, just incredible. 4 survivor elimination against GH last week on Hospital of all maps. We see a 4 elimination to lead the round here. I mean, Kuga's just come a long way to becoming one of the best hunters in this entire region.
Yeah, and it's a privilege actually watching his journey from being in the middle of the pack to now leading the table, being the head of the table this year alone. And in this matchup as well, like, it was actually a pretty tough to go with Zed's bread and butter main character, which is the Prospector. You have Seer and Barmaid as well. So for him to pull off a 4-man kill here is definitely a big feat. And I think sky's the limit for Kuga here. So yeah, nothing to take away from UTP. It just Kuga has been operating on a different level. Yes, they're gaining more experience, and hopefully they're able to catch up. We actually thought that, it's at GH, you know, strongest in the region, but FT coming on in and Kuga actually putting on a display last week. And now it just shows that, yeah, he's still on that level, and people have to rise up to kind of keep up with him. So, you know, that being said, let's talk about the match, Eli. How did you feel about it? Was it how you expected it to happen from the picks and bans from the beginning, or how were your expectations met with Kuga? That at least.
Now, I will say, I think the positioning from the start was pretty good for the survivors. They had a lot of progress right away. They had first chase on the Prospector, which was definitely what they probably wanted. So it looked pretty good for the survivors. Also, Graveyard to work with, which is a good area. He had that early long stun, which unfortunate timing on the tram. Now the tram was I think like 2 seconds behind. So if the tram was there a little bit earlier, Zed could have definitely taken the tram, but did not have that opportunity. So yeah, I mean, I think overall the positioning for UTP early game was good. Pretty good first kite, but the problem is they didn't give Owl on the first hit. If they gave the Owl on the first hit, that could have been a really big factor. And they didn't go for that. They gave Owl later and they ended up actually wasting the Owl because they went for an Owl and Flywheel at the same time. So a slight miscommunication, unfortunately, did cost UTP the extending the kite even longer.
Yeah. Not to mention also some highlighted moments, right? You with an amazing rescue. Basement with a wildling right before half, like a millisecond later, it would have been different. It would have been a different outcome. But after that, you know what, Kuga just knew that he had to farm off hits on Zed and just continued applying the pressure, and then until he got like a double down situation, downed Rem, already put Yu onto the rocket chair. Yeah, it was just classic Kuga at that point. Just good Hunter gameplay and good awareness. They tried to keep up, but Kuga was just, I believe, like 2 or 3 steps ahead in this matchup, even though it didn't seem as favorable coming out of the picks and bans.
Yeah, so 8-1 lead here for FT. This puts them in a huge advantage, and it's now going to get even better for them as they get to pick the map in the next round. So just a lot of things going FT's way in this first round. I mean, they had great Hunter side, great Survivor performance. And you see the first kite was only 58 seconds. Now, the Cyphers did have a lot of practice. I mean, you saw by the time Zed went down, 2 Cyphers were already done. And now the Wildling Cypher is only 30%. Now, that is the downside to playing Wildling. While he may be very strong in that he's unchaseable, or he's very difficult to chase, rather, and he's very good at rescuing because he can get to the chair uninjured, he does decode very slow, and we see that be a big factor. You decoded a lot. I mean, it looked like he was decoding for a while, right, in that early game, and 31% is all he had to show for it. So and that's not his fault. It's just it's
Wildling, man. He's technologically challenged. He types with one finger at a time. Like, okay, decoding ciphers. He takes a while. So again, you can't have it all. Like, he was an amazing rescuer. It's just that. We talked about how UTP was really known for rushing their ciphers. But yeah, bringing someone like Wildling in, that's definitely going to slow it down, even though he gets the save. But yeah, it was just unfortunate because it was just basically 2 people decoding, which was Run and Rem. They did really well, though. Again, the end game pop also was just so close. If he was able to maybe just vault the Pal, or if it was the ciphers a little bit sooner, could have bought a little more time for at least for them to push one Survivor escape.
Yeah, I mean, the Cypher Rush was pretty good. I mean, they had 2 Cyphers down right away. They immediately jumped on Cyphers. What I love about Utopia is they jumped on the Cyphers right away. Some teams will get scared and they'll over-rotate or they'll hide or something like that, and you lose out on decoding progress. But UTP just pushed Cyphers so fast. They communicate very well. You know, after I finish the Cypher, where do I go next, right? There's no accidental double decoding because someone rotated into the other person, and they have 2 survivors near 1 Cypher. They minimize the amount of decoding time lost by great communication, and you saw that in this game. The Cyphers were almost done after that second. Even though Zed went down, only 58 seconds, which is relatively quick, they still had all the Cyphers almost ready. And so that's just a great job from Utopia. And again, I do think they could have potentially won if you tried to go for that rescue without using the boar, and then he could have harassed until the Cypher was prime. That did potentially leave an opportunity for the survivors to win. And something to keep in mind as well is because if you get on boar, if you farm the prospector and you get on boar right away, you could potentially still have the boar ready to go for the stun, and your boar is full health. So even if Kuga hits it once, he's got to hit it twice, and that's really hard to do. So I think they were maybe worried about the trait being still available and that he could pick up and blink and avoid the dash. That must have been the reasoning there. But I still think that might have just been your best play.
Yeah, and considering that he closed out the distance, right? And he was at full health. He could have just ate one hit, rescue, jump on boar. And you're playing with a boar, and I think Zed had at least 1 magnet, because he did try to use 1 magnet, but the attack did register before the magnet was able to do the pushback. So yeah, it's those slight hinged moments, right, that you think, oh, it could have gone any which way, and in that playmaking moment, it could have gone the survivor's way. But how ironic, or how poetic it would be, like that it went completely the opposite way, and now we're staring down the barrel of a 5-point game with Kuga leading the charge there. So, and they have map selection now, and note Kuga is fine even at hospital. So it looks like a really clean and early night in the office for Team FT if UTP can't find a solution in this game number 2.
Yeah. So not only do they have a huge lead, they also have map selection. So just a lot of great things going for FT. Great positioning. Everything is really good here. So now for Utopia, they do have to make a comeback here, and it's already a bit of a challenge because now we can get into a situation where FT probably doesn't have to worry about breaking wheel if they're able to pick an anti-wheel map. They can just go, you know, let's just pick a map like Arms Factory or Red Church. Both are bad for wax, both are bad for wheel. Oxygen's not left with a lot of great options, and Kuga still has plenty of hunters to work with. So now keep in mind a map like Red Church or Arms Factory maybe isn't as good for Kuga as well, because they'll ban Dream Witch and the Night Watch isn't good on a map like that. But I still think we've seen Kuga play Night Watch on Red Church before, so it's still definitely possible. We've seen it on Arms Factory as well, I think, too. I think the best map ban for Utopia is to ban Church, because if you go Church ban and then they pick Arms Factory is pretty bad for Night Watch. Church is a little bit better for Night Watch than Arms Factory is. So you force Kuga onto the worst Night Watch map, but you know, it's still just not at all good here for Utopia. FT being able to pick map selection now is really important for them, because they can just put Oxygen on a bad map, and they can just hold on to their huge lead here.
So now we see the scores, folks. Again, it's 8-1 lead in terms of points, but round 1 goes to FT. It's gonna be tough, because as the rounds go on and the points keep weighing on you, the more prone you are to making mistakes, or desperate you are to get more points. So, and it was a really clean sweep with how Kuga is able to do that. And like you said, Eli, the bans aren't necessarily going to go in their favor too in terms of the map selection, because Kuga is known for playing unconventional hunters. I mean, yeah, maybe force him into Arms, but he could definitely make it work in that sense. But you also have to consider your hunter too, Oxygen. Like, I know that we did see Evil Reptilian, but in this scenario, I think he still needs to stick to conventional if he wants to get more points for his team. Now, let me ask you, Eli, who do you think is supposed to go first? Which faction of UTP should go first here? Would it be the Survivors or the Hunter?
Yeah, it's really hard to say. You usually want to lead with what side has been performing the best, but both sides did not perform as strong as they would have liked in the first round. So it's not really, it's hard to tell. You want to lead with, you want to gain the momentum early on. So maybe you lead Survivors. Utopia Survivors have been pretty strong, whereas Oxygen has not played Hunter that much in competitive, at least for a while, right? It's been a long time since we've seen that. So I think Utopia probably would lead Survivors here, but again, it's really hard to say after both those rounds did not go in their favor. They just don't have too much to work with.
Yeah, I see what you mean there, and considering also you want to preserve the mental stack of your hunter, right, for the later games. I mean, we've seen how the best hunters can lose their cool if push comes to shove when they get drawn to the corner. But it can go against the grain if you think about it, because yeah, UTP Survivor very solid, but against Kuga it seems like they have their number. It seems like they're gonna go the opposite. They're gonna ban Arms Factory, forcing the Red Church to come out again. Another map that's not so good for the Night Watch, but is still workable considering that it's UTP that has to get more points compared to FT.
Yep. Maybe they're going to... No, they wouldn't really ban Night Watch. I don't know. I was thinking maybe they'll ban Night Watch, but I don't think you would do that. So I think, they're probably going to ban Dream Witch. And Kuga's going to have to play most likely Night Watch and Red Church, but I don't think he really minds that. I think, the biggest idea is just put Oxygen on the worst map possible, which is Red Church. Wax Artist and Breaking Wheel are just very, very weak here. So, yeah, I guess I'm not really sure what else. Maybe we'll see the Lizard now. It's possible.
All right, Eli calling a shot. Who knows? The Evil Reptilian in Church? I doubt it though.
Yeah.
Maybe I would like to see Gamekeeper more. I mean, he's really good on that one, but I don't know.
Also Gamekeeper's also just really not gonna perform well on Church. I mean, the problem with Church is like it's so easy to hunters that struggle with if you break line of sight against certain hunters, they'll just won't perform that well. So characters like Gamekeeper and Wax Artist, both of them cannot deal with that. So that's where Church is one of those really good maps for that. There's just so many walls, so many pallets, so many windows in which Gamekeeper and Wax Artist just can't do anything against it.
Trying to think of other hunters. There's Wheel, but Wheel also would struggle there with the church windows, with the pallet. I mean, the ruins area and the back exit. Oof, this is gonna be tough for Oxygen. Let's hope that it's gonna be the UTP Survivors first, so Kuga can set the pace, because yeah, Oxygen needs to reserve his mental stack for how he's gonna go up against FT. But yeah, it's gonna be a tough one. FT seem like they can see the light at the end of the tunnel at this point with how well they've done in the first round, in the first game, in both halves. So yeah, the UTP can definitely mount a comeback. So let's head towards the picks and bans here. Kuga is gonna be hunting first.
All right, so it looks like we're gonna see, of course, Seer and Barmaid already banned. So UTP is gonna lead Survivor here. I think this is probably the best play for them. It looks like we also have Antiquarian and Priestess getting banned. So this does open up a few options. Female Dancer will be on the table here. You do have Psychologist, you have Acrobat. Plenty of characters to approach this. They're going to ban Dreamwitch, of course, so Nightwatch is available. Looks like they're going to lead Prospector. Just want to get that on the table. Postman right away is very interesting. Yeah, I think character like Female Dancer to prepare for that Nightwatch would have been a little bit stronger, but it looks like they're going to lead Postman here. Just trying to promote Cypher Rush, it looks like, with that decoding letter.
Yeah, I mean, UTP known for that Cypher Rush. If they're able to have the Tranquility letters and just the boosts from the Postman, I think they want to try to double down on that. Yes, I am a fan of the Female Dancer, so we'll just have to see if they're going to bring that out. No, I think Kuga heard us. We're like, yeah, no, I got to get that Dancer out of here. It does open up Entomologist if they want to bring it out, but it seems like they want to pick up Mercenary first just to have that stable Rescuer. So now all eyes are on the final ban of Kuga in this lineup.
Yeah, I do think you can actually just not go Mercenary here because it's a small map. You don't have to worry about Dreamwitch anymore, so our Officer would have been perfectly okay for a small map and Dreamwitch not being available. But yeah, looks like they're just gonna, they really want that Mercenary stability here, so they're gonna go Mercenary now. Kuga, he has a few options. You know, you can ban Psychologist, you can ban Acrobat. There's a lot of characters that that Kuga could ban here. Oh, Antiquarian, no, Antiquarian's already banned.
Yeah. Patient of Run, Patience, yeah. Entomologist. Oh, just banning out the Patient. So now this leaves open. Ooh, okay, we're gonna see the Clown come out on the Survivor side. We did see, you know what, actually at GH, Capcom usually really trying to hone this as a meta, but then it's so hard because sometimes you really have to make that rocket count, and it does take a little bit of time for him to set that up. And he doesn't turn as fast as the forward too. So overall, this lineup, Eli, how would you rate it?
Yeah,
the tone says it all.
I don't know. Yeah, you're just gonna go Nightwatch. Yeah, this is not, I mean, Prospector's getting against Nightwatch, but there's so many characters that you can use to counter Nightwatch that UTP just did not go for. So Psychologist was, you can go Psych, Dancer, Acrobat, the Patient, you could pick that earlier. But you go, Clown here seems, yeah, I don't know.
What are your thoughts on Clown, by the way?
Well, I think Clown's good against some hunters. Obviously, against Bloody Queen, it's very good. You just make distance against the mirror. You can avoid getting hit by the mirror. Honestly, any hunter that doesn't have good mobility, Clown's pretty good against. But against Nightwatch, Clown feels not very good. Even Coordinator, I think, would have been good. But
you're right.
The Clown here, I personally don't really understand the reasoning. I'm trying to figure out the reasoning, but I'm having a bit of a hard time here. But it could definitely be that UTP has some strategy that we just aren't really expecting.
And also, it's Rem's Weeping Clown. Usually Rem is kind of relegated to just the safe roles like Barmaid or just the support roles, but him on this Clown could leave a big impact or not, depending on how this one's going to play out. And looking at the personas here, again, two Tide Turners here. We got a Flywheel, we got a Speed Boost on Run side, but Trump Card Detention, no frills here with Kuga. He just wants a stable hunt. And once again, folks, this is the Eli O and Potch Spice on the mic for the second game, first half between UTP versus FT.
Alright, so it looks like we're going to get into our match here. We do have Kuga first chase onto that Postman. Definitely want to get rid of that decoding character as early as possible here. He's going to go ahead and vault that window. Looks like we have I think that's trump card detention, so no confined space. So there's an option to go back to this window here as the postman. Now, postman's pretty good on church because if you actually get to the window, you can dog at the window if the hunter goes for the vault here. But it looks like we're not gonna see it just yet. Oh no, he did get it. Yeah, he did get it. He threw that a little bit early there and did get that. He's gonna make some distance here. That's exactly why postman can be pretty good spawning in church, because you can't dodge the dog if you vault that window, right, as the hunter. So, and now Run knows that Kuga doesn't have his wind ability, so they can make it to this pallet. But the problem here is Kuga can just jump it right away here, and Run is gonna take that hit early on. So pretty good start for Kuga, I would say.
Oh, Zed is already here just to give that support in the background here. We're going to see the wind force get some attraction. Goes for the blink and terror shock, avoiding the magnet. So again, beautiful sequence of events there by Kuga. Seems like he wants to get more than one down here. Zed is actually in the area, but will he attempt something? No, he's just going to go for a chair here.
Yep, so he's going to chair on this open chair as well. This is a really good chair. We see Zed does hide behind the Cypher, so he's not going to get pulled there. But that is a really hard chair to rebound kite from. Now, Zed needs to be careful. He's going to flywheel through that, so he doesn't give a free. I was going to say, you don't want to give a free hit. You don't want to give free presents, so he's going to be able to avoid that here. And we will have the Mercenary coming for the rescue. Nice job to avoid that wind. He's going to go ahead and get the rescue onto the Postman. And Postman's going to go ahead and drop a letter. We saw UTP go for this play last week where they go... they get rescued from this chair, they just immediately take the hit, they don't worry about kiting, and they go die in the corner. And you also give a speed boost letter to the prospector, so it's easier for them to harass. We've seen them do this many times. That's what they're going to go for. Run's going to go all the way to the corner here, and the prospector is ready to go for the harassment play.
Yeah, that's the thing. Kuga is just trying to patrol around the area to see where he's going to come from, but Zed... yeah, trying to juke here. He's gonna try and cut him off before he's able to get something. The magnet is attached, and now he's able to get the stun.
Can he get the body block here? This is really big. No, he's not able to get the body block, but they can go for it again. Prospector will take a hit. That's actually fine. As long as Prospector doesn't go down. That's the big important situation. And this gives Run time to go back to the corner. And Kuga's only way is through this pallet, or and if he goes this other way, Prospector's waiting. He's going to go for the drop. He's not going to go for the stun just yet. He is going to stun now. Postman should... Oh, he's got another magnet and another stun. And that's even more time wasted. Now he is out of magnets, which is fine, but so much time was wasted. I think UTP could maybe now play for a win. Zed's going to try to push the Cypher as much as possible, but he will get shared on the Cypher machine, so he's going to have to leave and potentially try to go for a new one.
Hopefully he's gonna leave in time. Yeah, okay, cool. We're not able to catch him because he's one more hit to falling down. We do see that the Weeping Clown is the only one that is left uninjured in this game. He's trying to see where Rem will be coming from. He's gonna try to go for a dash to spot out any attempts of a rescue here, since the Weeping Clown is the safest possible rescue. He's already gone for the rocket, able to get the stun and gets the rescue, but he can just go for the wind suction and now goes for the hit across the window. Yeah, Weeping Clown has to get out of there.
We need to see some survivor try to... The problem is Kuga has trump card. He can now switch to excitement. And the Cypher won't be ready. It's going to be Prospector to try to help out here, but he can just blink through the window. So I think Kuga knows this. He's going to... Oh, does stay out of the wind there. Nice job, but Kuga, he's just going to blink through the wall. He knows this is his best play. He's going to blink through there, and you can't do anything about that as the Prospector, unfortunately. But we have the Weeping Clown. Maybe can go for the stun. Here comes the rocket. Does Kuga get the drop? No, they get the stun. They have to body block this play right here. Oh, but they hit the Postman. He's going to go for the heal. Is the Cypher ready? He's going to go for the pull.
Oh, my God.
But Prospector's here, Podge.
Here we go, Prospector. Oh, no, he drops him right away. Two Cyphers still remain. They can't go for the pop just yet. They need to go for it. Oh, what a pull.
The Cyphers are ready, too, if they got that stun. That would have been a win, but they just miss out here, and now Kuga can potentially play for a tie. Keep in mind, Clown does have a rocket, so there is some endgame kiting potential here. But it is definitely a lot easier for Kuga to tie from this position.
What a play. Kuga now forced to try and go for a tie here, but what a turn of events if they go for the pop now. But if he was able to get that stun before the rocket chair, could have been a different story. So now Rem just trying to buy enough time. This is what UTP is known for. They're really known for their really good survivor teamwork, and now Rem is actually going for the dungeon. Kuga, can he stop him in his tracks? It seems like he's unable to, though. Oh,
Yeah, he's gonna go
No.
down here. I think Rem needed to go through the graveyard instead of going out through this way. Yeah, so I was a little curious. I was like, I don't know if this route is the right way. I understand what he's going for here, but I think he should have gone towards graveyard. That way, if you obviously you're not gonna make it all the way to dungeon with that rocket, but you will get close. I think the distance there maybe is a little bit shorter. I'm not really sure. It would have been probably about the same, but graveyard you can actually kite there. You have a lot of pallets, a lot of kiting potential, so maybe just a missed opportunity from Rem. I think overall, it's likely Kuga is able to get that down there, but yeah, Utopia really nicely played game. They came very close to getting a win there. Did unfortunately fall a bit short, and that does mean that FT is going to hold on to their lead.
Yeah, again, incredible performance, right? It strayed on to over support, but you know what, UTP, they really put objectives over anything else. So Zed being able to just harass constantly and bought so much time. He was playing conservatively but risky at the same time. It was a good balance that he was showing with that. And it seemed like, yeah, they really had something planned out with that Weeping Clown, making us all believers that they had this sniped out from the beginning, because it really helped. And considering that tie is good enough, at least they're able to give Oxygen that, I would say, confidence coming into this next match. But talk me through your thoughts, Eli. Tell me about what you liked about that match.
I definitely like the Postman acknowledging that, you know, if I use these windows, I can dog the hunter as they come through the windows. So that was a very good setup from the Postman. That's pretty standard Postman Red Church gameplay, but that's something that Utopia does often go with, and that did work out nicely. And then the Prospector support as well. I really like that play where they just run and die in the corner, and the Prospector is there to harass. This also works with Antiquarian. However, Antiquarian was banned, so Prospector does replace in that situation. And it was really nice. It wasted a lot of time. Zed did take a hit in the process. That's perfectly fine as long as you don't go down. And he was able to allow the Survivor to get freed one time. He was able to stun a few extra times after that. The biggest problem is that they did miss the body block twice, and there's nothing you can really do there. That's a bit of a lucky sort of situation.
It's a tricky situation.
Tricky, in which did not fall into Utopia's favor. Kuga was able to get that hit through that body block every time. That was definitely the difference maker. If there's any body blocks at any point, I think Utopia probably wins that match.
You know, I would like to see someone, or hopefully we'll try to do it if we have time, just to see how many times Kuga is able to farm off hits, because he's really good. I don't know if it's luck or it's skill, but he's got a lot of it, so hopefully we'll see more of that. But yeah, unfortunately they got really good rescues, good support, but if they're able to just get one or two body blocks, could have been a different story. But for them to get a tie out of Kuga here, again, this isn't the best map choice for a Night Watch. The fact that it was an uphill battle from the start, from coming off of round number 1 at least, them getting a tie is a good sign for them. So they've done their job, they've done their part. Now it's up to Oxygen to kind of do something with a layup and try to, you know, take one home for the team, or at least tie it out. But I would like to see him actually win this one, so that we're gonna push for that game number 3, and hopefully they'll win it in terms of rounds.
Yep. So yeah, definitely Utopia's best bet is for Oxygen to try to go for a win, because if you tie here, then you go into the last round, your team has to win 8-1 on the last round, and that's really, really challenging. So I don't know if that's going to be, if that's going to happen. Obviously, we don't know what's going to happen here, but I do think that the best bet for Utopia is Oxygen tries to get a 3 elimination. That's really sort of the most, that's the easiest route to a victory for Utopia, because this other way is just significantly harder.
Yeah, just if he's able to get a 3-1, that's good. So in the next round he could go for the tie-ins, the Survivor's turn to get a 3-1. So that does seem like the path of least resistance, because 7 points is no joke, and I think FT knows that. So now it's their turn to kind of alleviate Kuga of the stress. So as we look at the scores here, folks, there's still a 7-point differential between FT and UTP, and 1 round as well. So Oxygen, at least he still has to play with the same type of pressure, but his Survivors at least didn't have anything give him any extra added pressure to get a 3-1. He's just, actually no, it's still tie, so it's still pretty tough for Oxygen.
Yep. So yeah, you see on the scoreboard here, it is now 10-3 in terms of points. So that's just again, FT just holding on to that really large lead they were able to create in the first round. Now things going a little bit better for them here. We did see a 5-0 from that Survivor side early on, so now important. They're able to get a tie here. They do give themselves some opportunity. Again, a 3 escape would have been so much better. They're able to get a 3 escape. Oxygen can just go for a tie, and then Utopia wins the round, and that puts them in a possible situation to win this series. Now, that's going to be a lot more challenging. Oxygen really needs to try to play for a win. Now, it is Red Church, so smaller maps are typically easier to win on than larger maps because it's easier to control ciphers. Ciphers are close together. The executes are closer together. You have so much more ways to slow down Cypher Rush. So smaller maps are usually a little bit better for hunters in terms of when they need to win. So this is a possibility for Oxygen, but he doesn't have a lot of great hunters for Red Church, and this is exactly why FT chose this map. Wax Artist is not good here. Breaking Will is not good here. Gamekeeper is not good here.
Reptilian.
Lizard is probably not good here.
Probably.
So, I don't know, Podge. It's tough.
I will not argue with you on that. It's gonna be tough because he can't just go for that tie. He needs to get a 3-point game. You know what? Heck, why not run a mirror match? I really want to see him use that. Like we said, Night Watch has been the gold standard in this meta. I know it's not optimal, but maybe he can run with it. We haven't seen how Oxygen, with his mechanical prowess, use the Night Watch. But if we're gonna kind of go with just the map itself, what hunters are viable on this map?
Well, Night Watch is not great, but it is definitely playable. It's definitely better than Wax Artist or Breaking Will would be. I mean, we know Oxygen, go Bonbon, but you got to go for a win here. So Bonbon's not really a great option. Yeah, I mean, there's just not a lot of great options. Naiad, most likely, I guess that probably will be his play. Now that you mention it, Naiad seems like the best choice. But yeah, just because you have to win, Naiad does have win potential, but it's just not. It's not as good as you'd rather be playing Breaking Will for a win or something like that. Definitely over Night Watch. Definitely over Naiad here.
Yeah, so hopefully we'll see what Oxygen comes up with. Batting out the Seer and Dancer to start things off for him. Allowing Priestess plays to... Oh wait, Priestess has been already used. Okay, so Priestess and Antiquarian are globally banned already. So this leaves a lot left to be desired. I mean, they can go for Prospector, they can go for other things. I really want to see what Meowpie is going to use as a stunner, as the stunner of the team. If he can kind of mimic the same... Oh, they ban out Gamekeeper.
What?
I mean, he's known for it, right? So I think it's a respect thing, but I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe they're really confident he doesn't Night Watch.
Yeah, I guess so.
Hopefully this doesn't bite them in the end. Like,
yeah, I mean, I guess Gamekeeper, there are... Okay, Gamekeeper has good trap placements on this map. It's just that it's so easy to kite Gamekeepers. You can break a line of sight very easily. Looks like we're going to see Coordinator and Entomologist. Yeah, I don't really know what FT expects. I mean, I don't actually know what Oxygen's going to play. There isn't really a great hunter for this map here for him. I guess Naiad makes the most sense. Yeah, Naiad makes the most sense. I think Naiad would have been probably, strategically speaking, Naiad would have been a lot better ban than Gamekeeper. But yeah, I guess they're just don't want to have to deal with that Gamekeeper.
Guess it's more of a respect one, but logically speaking, yeah, Naiad does pose more of a threat. But we're gonna see. You know what? That's just a speculation. Oxygen can flip the script and go with something else. I'm trying to remember if he has a Dream Witch.
Not really. I think maybe he could play it, but probably not. I think it's not one of the hunters he really
known for,
accustomed to playing. Yeah, so.
Okay, so Entomologist Coordinator started things out with Team FT. Again, they have a Sable Rescuer. They have the harassment of the Entomologist when it comes to the corridors and also the hallways of this church, just so we can drop the bees down. Already able to ban the Mercenary, allowing the first officer to come in for Team FT.
So, yeah, this is why Mercenary's fine to just get banned, because then you can go Officer. Officer is fine on small maps. I guess if Oxygen can play Dream Witch, it would be now, because this team comp's not very good. Actually, it's pretty bad against Dream Witch. But looks like it'd be Psychologist as the last band. We'll see what they end up with. Probably Acrobat. Acrobat's available. You have
based on these bands,
Barmaid. Okay.
You have a... Oh wow, we went Barmaid. Based on these bands, do you have an inkling on what Oxygen might bring out?
Dancer. Seer. Dancer probably means... Well, I mean, Dancer... Well, the thing is, Naiad's pretty good against it. You wouldn't really have to ban Dancer if you're playing Naiad. Maybe he wanted to
Psych 'em.
Gamekeeper,
Oof.
and they banned. I don't really know, but I'm just kind of making stuff up at this point. But I think, yeah, I mean, I think you can play Naiad here. If you have Dream Witch, you would definitely play it now. Barmaid is a counter, but the rest of the team is very weak to Dream Witch, so that would be a pretty good option as well here.
Yeah, all eyes are on Oxygen right now. His Gamekeeper was banned. Hopefully, our top 2 picks, if you guys are wondering, it's either Dream Witch or the Naiad. If you guys in chat can chime in with what else Oxygen does play. I know he brought out a Geisha one point in a community tournament, but again, like, yeah, if he has Dream Witch, go for it.
Yeah, Dream Witch, it's got to be Dream Witch or Naiad. That's really the only things I can think of. Maybe you just play Church Wheel. That's just really bad though. And then, what was the other one we're talking about? Wax Artist is also really bad. Yeah. I mean, maybe if you gotta go for a win, so maybe you play Wax. But
they can just play for a tie, right? Like, it's not
Trojan Arms are just so. Trojan Arms is just such a hard counter to the hunters that we know that Oxygen can play. So I think that I honestly just gonna play Church Wheel.
Oh my. Okay. So again, I mean, you're technically playing against 5 survivors. The map alone will not be your friend. I mean, just Church Window is just so tough. It's gonna force you out of wheel form. Yep. So it's gonna be tough, but definitely doable for Oxygen. It's do or die for him, to be honest, chat. He needs to get a 3-person kill here just for him to extend to game number 2. So that's a lot of pressure on his side. Well, the survivors, they can't. Yeah, he's not going to go for a camping strategy, so they're going to have to stay on their toes if one survivor doesn't have a good early kite.
Yeah, so, I mean, I guess he does have... You get a good chase, really good chase on Barmaid, but as you mentioned, Pot, Church Windows, like, you can't do it. You have to get out of wheel form. It's just like any map that... the way to kite wheel is to do some sort of strategy that forces them out of wheel form early and then forces them to go back into wheel form. Like, Church is just so hard because you get to the Church window, you force them out of wheel form, then you just go to the other Church window, and it's like, well, what are you gonna do, right? So it's just it's really tough for breaking wheel. I think we'll probably see confined space. Well, that's not spawn locations.
I think they're just getting ready. But not to mention also, like, they could just break the top breakable walls also to create that.
Yeah.
So it's just that's gonna be such a pain. And also there's also some windows to work with in the back exit area. So. Here are the spawn locations you asked for, Eli.
I guess you go Barmaid first. See, the thing is, every spot has a window. Yeah, so Barmaid has Shack window, Entomologist has the window near the God Palette, and then Coordinator's Church windows. So it doesn't matter who you go for, there's always a really strong window, and that's why breaking wheel on Church is just very underwhelming. So I think at that point it just kind of comes down to which target is my best chase target, which would definitely be the Barmaid. Entomologist can juke the wheel form very easily on her piece because she has that speed boost. Coordinator can just use the flare gun. Yeah, no flywheel. So I think they really just assumed there was not going to be wheel, but yeah, I mean, wheel definitely makes the most sense. We're gonna have actually detention and insolence. It looks like. Wait, why? It doesn't make the most sense, but I don't know why I said that. I was making up words at that point. But anyways, we are gonna have the UTV Hunter versus the FT Survivors. It is going to be the second half of the second round. Oxygen pushing for Hunter. Win here. Elio, join the Pod Spice. We'll bring you the commentary for this match.
Entomologist gets a spike early on here, and now forcing him to actually.
Right away. Look at that.
Yeah. Able to get the trap? No, unable. Like, Bees in the way is going to actually be able to get retracted here. And now Mini Blue continuing the kite here, allowing the Cypher Progress to keep on moving along. Hopefully he won't run into any survivors here as Mini Blue tries to go to this next window.
Yeah, interesting. Entomologist never went for that window that we talked about, Patrick. Took 2 spikes right away, and now the Bees are gone. So Mini Blue doesn't have much to work with. Oxygen will have Blink online in about 15 seconds. Let's see if we can get this down without Blink. Actually traps him in a bad area as well. He can just wait for his trap. Goes for the trap there. Mini Blue is able to dodge it, but does not have Flywheel, does not have Bees. He's going to go down at this window here. So Oxygen with a really fast down for a Church wheel here. And so, yeah, FT...
Not off to a great start. Yeah. And considering he actually spent more time outside of wheel form to down Mini Blue was just, I think maybe an overestimation of Mini Blue using the bees, because the bees are actually really good for transitioning. But now, yeah, he could definitely go for a no camp strategy here. Meow is actually out in the open, his first, I would say, most juiciest target here. But now he has to kind of respect the wheel's extended spikes as Adi goes for the first rescue.
Yeah, so again, just missing. Okay, so he's gonna spike the. This is smart. He spikes the officer, and now he knows that he can see the spike, which he knows that's not the entomologist, because obviously they both look like officers. We're gonna see the trap here. Does get a hit on the entomologist. So yeah, another interesting route. Mini Blue. So in the first kite, he misses out using that window, and then after the rebound here, he kind of just runs in the open, and then he's able to get a free hit there. So Oxygen already with a lot of presence, still has blink here, and it's been pretty good for him.
Yeah, I think he realized that I think this Mal was working on a cipher up there, so he just made a full 180, went straight for the shack area. But now Shadow is actually hiding in the corner here. He does have a gun to use, but yeah, that's just one shot. So hopefully he'll make that one count. Oxygen, again, off to a great start. He's well on his way to actually downing his first survivor on this map. Another cipher is about to move, so Shadow has to cut this one a little close for this rescue. It seems like he's going to go for it now.
Yeah, he's trying to find where the coordinator is. He's going to get a wheel form here. They are going to get the rescue. I think coordinator wants to... Oh, we could have... Oh, he blinks through the coordinator and the bees here. I was saying coordinator wants to hold the flare gun.
Shoot.
Harassment goes for the flare gun.
There it
and
is.
it is a perfectly timed flare gun. And they know that there's no excitement because of the blink. So now this opens up potential rebound. Mini Blue needs to stay near windows, but he runs away from the windows, Pot.
Yeah, I actually thought he'd hug the windows, especially waiting for the extended spikes. And now he's got 2 spikes on him. He's going to get a snap. Actually just goes for the hit, forces attack recovery. But Eli, the last cipher is at 9%. So they're well on their way to try. Well, he's at least going to tie this one since detention is going to be a factor.
Yeah, so it's still, the last cipher is not nearly enough. So there's still an option to go for a win here. He's going to try to get spikes onto the barman. They were able to de-spike there. Does miss the extended spikes. That's a pretty big miss here. But he does get that spike right away, and there's, again, no flywheel. Oxygen should assume that barmaid doesn't have flywheel, but he's actually going to go for 2 spikes anyway. Trap at the pallet here is going to force the barmaid away from this area, but so the trap to work with goes from behind the wall. It does miss that.
Try to go for the no jumper there. He's going to go for the snap at the barmaid. He could just heal up. I think he just wanted to make sure that the barmaid will try and focus. Like, yeah, he could just drink and go for the cipher, but now he's going to try to monitor the ciphers here at the graveyard, but no one is actually here. It seems like Adi has to just move away from ciphers. He has no target just yet. If they play this one right, they could still opt for that tie, but Adi gets caught out in the open.
Yeah, I think he saw him here, but Officer does have 2 watches, so definitely has a long time before he's going to go down. He's going to go ahead and get the spikes there. Can he get the trap before the watch? No, he's going to get that watch off there, and so now he can just snap. This does activate the tide turner effect right away. He has to use the watch again, but he gets the trap on the officer while in watch there. He's able to get him down. So, wow, that's a pretty big turn of events here. Oxygen's going to change targets, go to the last cipher, try to force the officer to expend their self-heal, and that's exactly what Wheel wants to do in this late game. Now, he gets out of wheel form before, actually a little bit early there.
Okay, so now Shadow hugging the walls here. Gonna transition to another part, forcing Oxygen outside of the wheel form, and now he's gonna waste time going back and forth. So now one cipher is sitting at 65, the other one at 45. We do see that the barmaid was able to heal up the officer. So Oxygen's still not out of the woods yet. He needs to pressure one of these ciphers, but a good thing is that this breaking wheel does have that mobility, and it seems like they're away from windows.
Trying to find where these survivors are. They're actually just near the cipher machine, but now he's gonna go ahead and leave. Can't find anyone just yet. He's gonna go look for the coordinator. He knows is back in this area. The survivors just need to split up the ciphers at this point. Coordinator is able to avoid that spike there with that broken window speed boost, and now again is not gonna go down to a swing. He's just gonna go ahead and go for a snap. He's gonna go back to the cipher. So the cipher machine is almost ready at this point. I'm wondering if the officer will push this or not. I think you play it safe. You don't need to push the cipher all the way. But he might actually go for it.
Adi might be a little too greedy here. He's gonna try to force it from happening. Oxygen has to be very... Oh yeah, he can just down Adi right here. And now 99%. That was so close. The coordinator is already at the exit gate, but Meow is gonna be forced to go for this rescue. So I'll really try to gamble it all on that last minute pop, but you're gonna have to deal with an end game detention wielding breaking wheel while Meow is ready for the rescue here.
Yeah, so this might be one of the situations we saw before where the officer is the endgame chase. So you want to make sure you don't go for officer if you're Oxygen. Let's see if he acknowledges this. No, he's gonna go for the officer chase.
And
We've seen this before.
We have, and like, away from this primed Cypher. So now they just go ahead and pop it. Adi still has a watch to work with.
Oh, he could have blinked before the watch. He actually could have blinked before the watch, and he didn't go for it. But now we see the barmaid actually running into the wheel. So now he can.
He's still going for him.
Yeah, he's still going for him, and I think he is still. Yeah, he wasn't. He still has the watch. He was able to get the watch off. He wasn't close enough. He's gonna go.
Oh no!
Dixie is open here. He did see the barmaid. Can he cut off the barmaid from making this gate though? She has the pallet. He still has blink. He still has blink. He does blink through that window there. That he's gonna secure that down. Now he can. So this game is not over just yet. He can force this survivor out the gate. He can share, and then he can go to the other gate. I wonder if he's able to make it before the officer gets it open. Most likely not. Yeah, this is a far share. He's not gonna be able to make it in time. So this is going to be, looks like a tied game.
So again, it's still gonna go for the whole BO3, but I mean, it's still sort of FT holding on to their lead. So now, get an excellent performance on both sides. Good early game there for Oxygen. Really downing Mini Blue at the start there was a good start, but man, the survivors, their tenacity really showed there. Really taking, just trying to take all precautions that they can to try and get everyone out, but a tie is still good in their book. But Eli, talk to me. How did you like the survivors and the hunters' performance in that match?
Yeah, so definitely a very good start. I think as a survivor, I think Mini Blue just unfortunately missed out on a lot of good window opportunities. In the early game, he kind of ran away from the really strong window over there that you can just kind of loop over there. There's not much Breaking Wheel can do. He just kind of ran away from that window, and he tried to only use the bees instead of utilizing the window, which means that Oxygen was able to get 2 spikes early on. And then on top of that, I think it was after one of the rescues, he ran away from the window again, and he was able to just get the spikes right away. So you have to make sure that you utilize those windows. Red Church has a lot of windows, a lot of great places to avoid Breaking Wheel, but unfortunately Mini Blue just did not go for those. And yeah, Oxygen's Breaking Wheel is just very, very strong. Able to almost win on Red Church as wheel. I mean, I would never play Church Wheel. I'll just tell you right now, like, if I was gonna play Breaking Wheel, it would always be Ever Sleeping Chinatown or Moonlight. I wouldn't play anything else. But especially not Church. This is a really difficult map for wheel, but he almost won. Still able to secure a strong tie here. And so now we are gonna go into the last round. Now, keep in mind, this is a perfect result. This is a great result for FT. They're still up 8-1 going into the last round. This is really, really good for them. But, you know, Oxygen, you still have to point out how well he was able to play there. And so that was, again, I think the big factor, though, was just Mini Blue did just avoid those windows, and that was kind of the downside for the survivors.
Yeah, it was just unfortunate for them, right? But like you said, FT's still in a good spot coming into the third game. Hopefully this is Oxygen and Team UTP kind of building their foundation or building their confidence coming into game number 3, because that is they need to get at least, okay, wait, if my math doesn't fail me, they need to get the lowest that they can score is a 3-point game, but they need to perfect 1 game. Is that correct? Yeah.
They need, the lowest they can get, so they have to get at least 3. So basically what has to happen is we need to see one side get a 3-1 and the other side get a 4 or 5-point game. So we need to see most likely.
Christ.
Yeah, so they have to at least get a so you can have like a Hunter 4 kill and then a Survivor 3 escape, or you have a 4 Survivor escape and the Hunter gets a 3 kill. That's really the only options here. Yeah, so
that is tough math. I mean, thank you for doing the math, but that's tough numbers to crunch for Team UTP, because they have to basically play a flawless game to deny a tiebreaker from here on out. They need perfect game from the Survivor faction and for the Hunter faction, and Team FT could just coast here on out. I hope they don't. I hope they make this as decisive as they can. But if the first half goes to a tie, I don't know if we're gonna play for that second half, because it's going to be logically impossible for UTP to try and come back from this. Yes, round 2 is a good foundation. Hopefully UTP can, strive for those win conditions. But yeah, it just takes 1 game to kind of shatter everyone's confidence. Yes, UTP's still in a good lead, but 1 perfect game could swing the tide into anyone's favor.
Yeah, absolutely. You do see the score on the the board there, still a 7-point lead. So while Utopia did play significantly better in this round than they did in the first round, it's still good for FT. It's still exactly what FT wants. They're basically just saying, like, this round never happened. We're basically looking at FT getting an 8-1 round, and then now and that's it. In this round, because this round's tied, it does nothing to benefit UTP. If anything, it gets FT one step closer to victory. But, you know, if UTP continues to play better and better, you know, maybe they're able to pull off. I guess they would really need a miracle third round here. That's really what it would have to be. So yeah, it's just now they do get to pick map without any map bans, so that does open up some possibilities. And Oxygen is a very so some hunters can have many different a hunter pool that doesn't really matter what the map is, because you have any hunter for any map essentially, right? Unfortunately, Oxygen is a hunter that's very dependent on certain maps based off of the hunters that he has available. But because UTP gets to pick the map here, it does mean that they get to set up Oxygen very nicely for many of his hunters.
And I'd say also, if he's still feeling kind of good about his performance, let him hunt first, because that was actually a really good performance. Yes, the Survivor team did all right up against Kuga, but I don't know, Oxygen looked more, he looked different compared to the previous game, and the confidence he must have gotten, especially going on a map that's not favored by wheel, and for him to get that result, I think maybe you want to run with that type of momentum. Again, it just comes up to whatever the team is comfortable with. Again, the Malaysia division is up for grabs. Who will represent Malaysia or this division in the upcoming IVS? So it's really exciting times to be an Identity 5 fan. So hopefully you guys are enjoying this match, because these teams are really pushing each other to the limit.
Yeah, absolutely. So
it seems like, just Mother Base actually tapped into us, and it said FT will be Survivor first.
Okay. So that does mean...
Kuga,
so that does mean... Yeah, it does mean that FT it doesn't mean FT gets to so they chose this, right? Which means that I guess they're saying
they want Oxygen to hunt again also.
Right. You know what that does, actually, now that I think about it, is this is what UTP thought of last round, where they wanted to lead Survivor first because they felt like that was their best way to gain momentum, right? And it sort of did that. They had a very good match. They did unfortunately fall short and get a tie, but they played really well. So if anything, that helps out a little bit there. So I think FT doesn't want to give that opening, right? They want to take Survivor first here. They acknowledge their survivors are very strong, and they don't mind playing against Oxygen right away here. They really want to keep the UT survivors at bay, essentially, and not give them any sort of early momentum.
Okay, so shout outs to Crit. Mother Base over here says if they get 2 survivors out, they're going to qualify due to point difference. So that is, I mean, just getting a tie and they already win. So, oh man, that's a lot of pressure on Oxygen's side. But he also faced that tie. He was actually hanged by a thread in the previous game too. So hopefully he thrives under this type of pressure. Any map predictions you think is going to come out here, Eli, since we've already saw Church, we already saw Ever Sleeping Town, we're going to see the other town come out?
Well, yeah, you still have Chinatown. That could be very good. You also have Moonlit River Park. So that's really good for Oxygen hunters as well. And it's Moonlit River Park. So that's going to be a really good map for Breaking Wheel. It's good for Wax Artists. It's good for Lizard, technically. So you do have many options as Oxygen now. So again, we talked about how Red Church limits his options. Moonlit is just going to make them. It gives him pretty much every hunter he has available will be good here on Moonlit. From what we know, his entire hunter pool will definitely thrive here. Gamekeeper is the best Gamekeeper map.
Is great. Hopefully, I don't know what FT is going to be thinking about, if they're going to be able to ban the Gamekeeper, right? Because we talked about now they got to put respect on the name of the Breaking Wheel, since they let it rock in Red Church. Right. Now they got to worry about this or the Night Watch or whatever other hunter that Oxygen can bring to the table. So yeah, I'd say even though FT is in the point lead here, they can't let this one slide. Maybe the pressure could get to them. Oxygen can capitalize on that, since a lot is riding on this. And yeah, all eyes are on FT since they just won IVC. I would have to say maybe they could also feel the pressure of this tournament, that, you know, we have to perform the same type of way. So I think that's what Oxygen, hopefully that's what he's thinking. So he sees these guys as beatable opponents.
Yeah, definitely. So we'll see how this goes. I think for Oxygen, I'm trying to think about what hunters will be banned. I think they'll ban Wheel for sure because we saw in the last round Wheel obviously was very good, and that's on Church. Now you get Moonlit Wheel. That's so much better. So Wheel should 100% be banned. Will they ban Wax Artist? Right? We saw them have a very strong Wax Artist match in the first round on Ever So Many Time, which is a good Wax Artist map. Moonlit is also a good Wax Artist map, but are they really worried about that because considering how well they played against it last time? So I wonder what other hunters Oxygen has. Geisha could be good. You could ban Gamekeeper. They banned Gamekeeper on Church, so if anything, they'd probably ban Gamekeeper Wheel here. Actually, I think that would probably be what FT is most worried about at this point.
Yeah, if that's gonna be the case, then maybe they'll like let it rock with Wax Artist and try to ban accordingly. Again, they need to get a tie, and Embalmer is still up for grabs. And an Embalmer on Moonlit is going to be pretty tough for a Wax Artist to catch up to. And he can't play like passive Wax Artist. He needs to go for the kill. He needs to go for the 3-man kill. And we're going to find out as we head towards the picks and bans. Once again, folks, the Antiquarian, Priestess, Entomologist, and Coordinator are banned globally. So survivors of FT still have their pickings when it comes to the Acrobat. They still have Prospector if they want to bring that out. And also the Embalmer.
Yep, absolutely. So looks like we're gonna see Mercenary and Seer first. So I do like Mercenary ban first because Mercenary very good on Moonlit. Mercenary's good on the big maps are really strong for Mercenary because you get around the map very quickly using those elbow pads. Looks like they're gonna ban Percy, so we're gonna see Percy and Breaking Wheel.
And leaving the Gamekeeper.
They're leaving the Gamekeeper. I don't know. I mean, Percy can't really 4-kill because you can just.
Oh no.
Wait,
Mother Base is actually messing with us. Hang on. It might actually be a Gamekeeper that they ban. Hopefully, I don't know if it's Percy because Percy. I mean, I like the character, but he needs to get a 3-man or 4-man kill, and in voice comms and in a big tournament, that's gonna be tough. So we're just gonna have to wait and see. Maybe ask the backstage what is the second ban of Hunter. But we are seeing a potential psychologist and first officer pick on the side of FT.
Yep, it looks like we're gonna see they want to have that rescuer available here, so they're gonna go officer early on. Psychologist is gonna be good against any of the single hit hunters. Actually, not too good against Wax Artist though, because she has a hard time avoiding getting that play where you get a lot of whack, like 90% wax, and you go for a basic hit, something like that. Oh, actually, Percy's shown back up again, so maybe it really is Percy.
Wow.
Again, I understand. Actually, I don't really understand, but basically, like, you ban Percy, but Percy can't 4-kill, and Oxygen's in a situation where you have to 4 because you can just crawl out the dungeon, right? If you get all 4 survivors down. So I guess they really are just worried about the Percy. So, yeah.
Interesting. I guess that's more of a respect ban, because you rarely see Percy being banned in this high level of a tournament or this competitive high stakes or this format. So picking up the Acrobat since the toy merchant was banned. So now this leaves one last ban for him to go for. There's Dancer, there's Patient, and that's what he's gonna go with. So banning out the Lovers.
Yeah. So we're gonna see Patient off the table. That makes sense. Patient. We're gonna see Mechanic here. Again, they just need to go for a tie. So playing a character like this would make sense. Could have gone in Bomber, but looks like we're gonna see them go for the Mechanic. At least no more Prisoner. We don't have to worry about that anymore. We saw the Prisoner 2 times from FT last week, and both times, I believe the Prisoner.
Not the best.
Yeah, the Prisoner just went down relatively fast. So. Mechanic is, you may be asking, well, doesn't Mechanic also go down relatively fast? This is true. However, Mechanic is a lot more efficient at decoding because even if you go down quickly, you still have that bot in play to decode. Whereas if Prisoner goes down quickly, Prisoner unfortunately becomes useless at that point. So the Mechanic, very good character for a situation where you only need to go for a survivor tie here.
Yeah, so the job of the Mechanic now is to leave the bot unharmed, get as much energy as possible. For him to just trade off a rocket chair for decoding that cipher. So they're locked in. It's Shadow on the Mechanic, Meow on the Psychologist, Mini Blue on Acrobat, and an Adi, being the stable rescuer he is, he's gonna go with First Officer. So now this leaves Oxygen with Wax Artist, if he's gonna bring that out once again. And it seems like he's gonna bring his debuting Night Watch to come out. And Night Watch again.
Interesting.
round 1 Hunter. He's going to come out in round number 3 with a lot more bans. Yeah, he could definitely make a dent here in this lineup.
Yep. So Nightwatch, obviously, very good on Moonlit River Park. A lot of open area, very hard to break line of sight. So definitely would make sense to see this character. And, we talk about how Nightwatch is one of the strongest hunters in the game currently. So Nightwatch is going to be the lead here for Oxygen. If there's any hunter that has the potential to go for a win here, it would be with that Nightwatch character here. So let's see what he's able to do. I think based off of this team comp, we'll see Acrobat near 4-stop, probably Mechanic, either first stop or 2-story, and then Psychologist will also be at first stop or 2-story.
Yeah, they just want to be able to get the Cypher progress going, have the longest kite with this Acrobat. I don't know if he's ever going to... First Officer, we've seen hunters go after the rescuers first, but I don't know if Oxygen wants to play that strategy. He could with this Nightwatch because he can catch up easily. He can actually just go for different targets if he chooses to. But like you said, it seems like they're giving Meow first stop, Shadow the corner bridge, Mini Blue on last stop, and Adi actually takes 2-story.
Wow.
We got that completely wrong.
Yeah, I don't understand. So the thing is, like, Officer, so 2-story is a very safe area because it's hard for hunters to chase there, right?
Where's the Mechanic gonna drop the doll?
Yeah, I don't know. I guess the maybe the Mechanic's gonna drop bot and then rotate to first stop and take coaster. That could be the idea, but that doesn't seem very good. So I don't really.
It's on the open, right? Oxygen's gonna down the bot and then just go straight for her. Yeah.
Yep.
And it's I'm gonna use your words. I'm curious to see how this one's gonna play out.
Tricky. I would say.
Yeah, very tricky. So talk to me about the personas, Eli.
Yeah, so we're gonna have, it looks like we're gonna have double flywheel here, and Mechanic actually has no borrowed time. So we're gonna have the broken windows and flywheel build. We have Psychologist with the broken window. Psychologist very good with broken. You just take a hit, vault the window, gain a speed boost to make a lot of distance. And you can take up to 3 hits, of course. So that's sort of the strategy with Psychologist and Acrobat with the flywheel. This is going to be the UTP Hunter versus the FT Survivors. I'm Elio, joined with Podge Spice. We are bringing you the live commentary of the first half of the 3rd round for the IVS qualifiers of the Malaysia division.
Not wasting any time. He's already made the rotation towards the bridged area, but we see that the bot is actually unharmed at the tent, but he seems like the tinnitus is going to start kicking in, and it seems like he's already caught wind of someone that is here, and it is the bot. So now it seems like Shadow will actually be the one that will gain the attention of Oxygen, leaving the bot unscathed.
Yeah, and this is why spawning Mechanic at bridge is so risky, because now you just, you spawn the Mechanic, goes for the swing of the window, doesn't get the hit there. But you spawn the Mechanic in a very easy area for the Hunter to locate you, right? And that's exactly what's happening here. Mechanic is going to go ahead and rotate towards 4-stop. Already a lot of time wasted here. He's not going to be able to get the jump on this pallet either. So Shadow doing an excellent job thus far. He's going to make it to the pallet. We're going to see a mind game at the pallet here. Gets the hit through the pallet onto the Mechanic. And now he does have his blink ready.
Yeah, he's got to move and rotate away from that bot and conserve it as much as possible. But as he's doing this, Cypher progress looking pretty decent on FT's side. Already dropped down the pallet. He's going to use the Wind Force to try and go for the blink. Wow, attempt and hit. Oxygen has his first down, but Shadow's bot is actually in the area. So let's see if he's going to down that bot. It seems like Mini Blue will actually gain the attention of this Hunter, and he's going to chair him near this popped Cypher.
All right, but they do have 2 Cyphers down already. They have another Cypher at 80%, and they have Mechanic stall in place. So this is a really good start for FT. They're actually on track to win based off of the Cypher progress. Now, can we see a cut? Can we see him cut off the Officer from a distance? No, we're going to see Officer is able to use that watch, avoid that hit there. As long as the Officer can make a safe rescue here, this will be really nice for the Survivors. Does wind the Officer back here.
Whoa!
Gets the hit, gets the pallet stun. Can he get the hit before he gets the rescue up in time?
Oh my God!
He
actually distorted the effort.
The Tide Turner runs out. Wow, what a play from the Hunter.
Oh
Incredible.
My God. In just seconds, this looks like a winnable situation for Oxygen. This Mechanic, yes, is still decoding, but he's already has his 2nd Survivor on a rocket chair. Seems like he's going to bring the first Officer away, forcing Mini Blue to actually come to the rescue here. If he rescues, yeah, they have to preserve as much as possible, but I mean, what a sequence there. He jumps the window, he cannot get terror shocked here, gets the early hit, and now forced to go for this rescue. Shadow has to survive for as long as he can. No Tide Turner in play for this Mechanic.
Yeah, there's no tide turner. Mechanic does that flywheel, is able to use it there, able to avoid that hit, goes for the mind game. Oh, it bolts into the Night Watch. I guess he thought he was going to go around the window there, but yeah, didn't go for it. He's going to get the down here. Now the Mechanic is dead on chair. So again, you know, if this is a tied game, Survivors only need a tie here, but Oxygen has made it possible to win. He does need to get at least a 3 kill right here. So looks like we're going to see him chase after the
first officer.
Will he use the watch up? He's going to use the watch. But
Wow,
he gets to hit the watch.
got it! How did he predict that? That is insane. Oxygen running on, I don't know, hunter instincts at this point. Last Cypher is at 80%, but I believe it's the Cypher that is close to this area. Mini Blue is actually caught in a tough spot since he's already half health, but it seems like Oxygen might want to just kind of clean up the bot here and try and go for Adi on the chair, just so that he won't go for that Tinnitus. But now, it seems like they're opening another Cypher, that's Meow Cypher, while I believe it is the psychologist healing up the Acrobat, just so the Acrobat can go for the rescue.
He's gonna try to chair close to the Cypher machine here. Oh, there's no way he makes this, right? He's gonna go all the way to 2-story trying to chair on the Cypher. If he makes this, he could abnormal this Cypher. I don't. Oh, it is already primed. Does he make this? He actually. No, he doesn't make it. And Cypher Machine is now ready.
Yeah,
let's
very
see what Oxygen
ambitious
does.
play.
He could bait here. He could bait teleport switch, and that he's gonna go for an abnormal. But no, he's just gonna go for the swing. It looks like. We're gonna see how much time the psychologist. Wait, but he throws the pallet, which means he loses some time here. He can go
he's
for the
gonna force for the pop. Oh my God, that was so risky.
He can catch up right away. He can just catch up right away and get this down. The 3 kill is still possible. There's the down on psychologist. Psychologist really should have just stood at the Cypher and waited. He's gonna now teleport to the other exit gate.
Acrobat has already spent the bomb here. It's the slow bomb, but catching up right away is Oxygen. So this game isn't over quite yet. Nice elevation change by Mini Blue. He's going to try to run the routes here, but he's already going to get an Oxygen, the wind force here. So now Mini Blue has a double down situation. Psychologist needs to heal up right away. First officer is already out of the gate. He needs to get back to get one more down on the survivors just so that he can push for that second half.
Right, so Psychologist heals very slow, does not have sticker because those broken windows not flywheel. So we do see them finally get back up, and Oxygen could make it in time. We're going to see if first officer tries to go for a rescue. He's actually just going to wait at the exit gate here. I mean, keep in mind, even a 1 escape here is good for FT. Because then Utopia would have to get a 4 escape just to tie, right? So
true.
And he does see the psychologist, so I think this is probably gonna be a 3 kill. He can use the win onto the psychologist here. She's gonna go for the vault, and yeah, just secures the down. That is gonna be a 3 survivor elimination for Oxygen here after a difficult start. That stuffed rescue onto the first officer was so important for that match, and just like that, we are gonna have a second half of the third round here. And now Utopia has to get a 4 survivor escape.
Yeah, again, they're really just playing it conservatively. They don't want to risk anything. Again, after that thwarted rescue of that first officer, I think they knew they didn't want to play with fire. They're like, okay, let's play this as conservative as possible. At least we get the 1-person escape. They're able to still do it, Eli. For me, a little too close for comfort at this point, because slowly but surely they're kind of catching up. And UTP survivors are known for actually pulling off miracles, and they could pull a big one out of Kuga if they're able to pick and ban accordingly. We might be getting a little ahead of ourselves, but let's take it back for the audience who just joined us now to the highlights of that match.
Yeah, so definitely the big game changer. So the first Kai was pretty good considering it was a mechanic. They were able to get 2 ciphers down, another cipher 80%. Bot was still in play, so it was looking really good for the survivors, right? But the problem was that the first officer, he had wanted order, which was a bit challenging. Usually first officer can still make the rescue though, because they can just use the pocket watch. But Oxygen was able to, everything had to go actually perfectly right for Oxygen there. What he did is he got a swing. He had to swing, hit the officer in the pallet, and then hope that the officer also threw down the pallet on the wrong side. And that all happened. It's exactly what happened. He got the hit on the officer while they're in watch, with the officer throwing the pallet down on the wrong side. And also the watch had to run out
at the
before
right
the rescue
time.
happened. Yeah, everything had to be absolutely timed perfectly. That's like a 1% chance. But that was like insane. Like everything worked out perfectly for Oxygen. Beautiful play there from him to stuff the rescue. And on top of all that, able to down the psychologist, quickly teleport to the next gate, and get back and cut off the psychologist from making a gate to 3-kill that situation.
Yeah.
Now, I do think psychologist could have kited endgame a lot longer if she just stood on the Cypher, but she got way too greedy, trying to go for a pallet stun inside the 2-story when the Cypher was already ready. You just gotta at that point, you just stand on the Cypher, take the hit, pop the Cypher, and then you probably you also want to run upstairs as well. If you run upstairs, then you can use that 2-story window. But he kind of just ran in the open, got down quickly, and he was able to get the 3 kills. So you definitely want to. I think psychologist's approach to that Cypher pop should have definitely been a lot different there, but unfortunately did not work out there for FT. But Oxygen able to get 3 kill here keeps Utopia in the game.
Yeah, something to add also in between that, a sandwich in that scenario of stuffing the rescue and also downing the psychologist was Adi's second watch was rendered useless. Like, he was able to predict where the officer was at, and he was able to stuff the officer. Just change targets immediately, leaving the officer. They were down one person, so they couldn't really pressure that much Cypher. So, yeah, Oxygen, again, the stars definitely aligning for the Hunter side here. FT's Meow Pie also getting a little too greedy towards the end, wanting to go for a pallet stun instead of just going for a pop. Not even, like, just chasing him away from the Cypher and hoping that another Cypher is going to pop. So, again, maybe more finer tuning, but you have to give it up to the rest of the survivors. You know what? They knew they had to play for just the minimum, the bare minimum, which is 1-person escape, which they did get. And now all is left to, I would say, the survivors. And I would say it's kind of poetic justice because Oxygen has been carrying the past 2 games, just having all the pressure of, like, just getting a tie and now getting a 3-person kill. Now it's up to the survivors to actually push for the 4-man. It's 4-man or nothing. They need to get a 4-man escape or else, and get a game number 4, or else it's going to be GG's and Kuga's going to get the victory for his team.
Yeah, they need a 4 escape just to tie here and just to force a 4th round. So Kuga just needs a single kill here to secure this. And it is possible, though, for UTP to get a 4 escape. I mean, we saw it from GH last week, so it's possible for sure, but it's definitely very challenging, very unlikely, but we'll see what they're able to do. We see, again, FT keeping the lead this entire game. Utopia now closing it to 5 points, but it must be a 4 escape or nothing here. So, yeah, it's something we have to point out as well, though. Excellent. I think it's really amazing how in the first round, Oxygen had a really difficult time with his Hunter, with the Hunter side. In the last 2 rounds, just played very, very well. Tying the last round, almost a win. A win here with Night Watch. I mean, really, really great job. Really something to note there. Just Utopia, he's keeping Utopia in the game for sure here, and it really just comes down to what the survivors can do at this point.
And considering that in IVC, he actually played Survivor. So him as a Hunter, I definitely am a big fan, and I cannot wait to see him in bigger tournaments. And who knows, he could actually be representing the Malaysia division if UTP Survivor is able to take this game, 4-man escape, and then take it on game number 4. But getting a little bit ahead of ourselves because the survivors now have to be able to do this, or at least, well, not at least, they need to get the 4-man escape just to say they tie things out. And I'm a little scared that FT is actually getting a taste of their own medicine, because this is kind of what happened in the finals of IVC, because they had such a bad start against GH, but they were able to come back in game number 2, 3, and 4 for them to get the victory. But now it seems like UTP is kind of on the same track. And I mean, the story writes itself here. They need to get a 4-man escape, and that would, I would honestly think, shatter the confidence of FT.
Right. So yeah, just a lot of it's still an uphill battle for Utopia, but again, FT led Survivor here because they didn't want to give Utopia any momentum. They wanted to try to win with the survivors. They know how strong their survivors are. Didn't want to give the Utopia survivors any chances, but they lose the momentum here with that 3 kill. That's how important this is. It's not just that we're going into a situation where Utopia has to 4 kill. It's still pretty good for FT. They do lose the momentum, and that's actually pretty important. And I know it doesn't seem when it, we talk about this, it's like, well, that doesn't really matter. That's not going to make a difference. It actually is really important in these games. I can tell you from, used to be, I used to be a very competitive IDV player. I used to be, yeah, well, I mean, I used to be like, playing in tournaments and whatnot, but like, I understand the holding momentum and whoever has momentum. This is super important.
Yes.
And I think a lot of people disregard that factor. I think it's really important that Utopia now has They have confidence to play it out. If you get, especially in this Identity 5 game, when you get in situations where you're very discouraged and whatnot, you'll just play very bad. But now that Utopia they have hope, they have momentum, they have a chance here. This is exactly what they need. If there's any chance for them to come back, it would be with this excellent Hunter performance.
And just to double down on what you said there, if you look at the trajectory of IVC champions, GH, right, 2-time champs, they all won it coming from the lower bracket. FT has won this also, this recent IVC tournament coming from the lower bracket. So that speaks volume when it comes to momentum, because they were able to warm up, gain the confidence to beat their adversaries in the lower bracket and continue on. So I would have to say momentum is on UTP's side here, just to make things more exciting, because point difference is still on the side of FT, but in a snap of a finger with momentum on their side, UTP could actually draw this out to game number 4. So it's going to be an intense one to watch here, folks.
Yeah, absolutely. So just a lot of definitely a lot of pressure on Utopia, but they're not out of it. So now, if you're Kuga here, we have to consider what sort of hunters he will play. Nightwatch should 100% be banned. Now, I don't know if they're actually going to ban Dreamwitch or not, because Dreamwitch, it's not one of those hunters that's like a safe 1 kill, right? It is possible to 4 escape. It is possible to win against. We might see them banned just because they don't really want to deal with that at all, but they definitely will ban Nightwatch. If they also ban Dreamwitch, then Kuga does have options. You have characters such as Bonbon that can be pretty good for getting a kill. You have characters such as I think Kuga has does Kuga have Bloody Queen? I'm actually not sure, right?
I think he does. I think
it
was banned one time. Yeah, by GH.
Yeah.
Just
so that's definitely an option as well.
So top bans, what do you think?
Well, definitely Nightwatch. Definitely Nightwatch. I would also ban, if Kuga does have Bloody Queen, I would also ban Bloody Queen. If he doesn't,
to deny the type.
Yeah, if he doesn't, then I would ban either Nightwatch or Dreamwatch or Bonbon at that point.
Okay, that definitely makes sense, because all the survivors need to get out of the gate, folks. Again, this is such an exciting start to the qualifiers for IVS. For the Malaysia division, we are going to see the bans of Priestess and Mercenary. Strong start for Kuga to ban out these characters. So yeah, Dreamwitch and Nightwatch have been banned, leaving open a Bloody Queen, a Bonbon, or any Tide Hunters that he can come out with in this. That would be favorable for him in this map. So looking also at the global bans, Seer, Barmaid, Prospector, and Postman are out of the mix here. I mean, you still have Acrobat, you still got a lot of good survivors to choose from, but it seems like they really want to double down on the Weeping Clown along with the Batter.
Yeah, they got a 4 escape, so you might as well take this harassment-heavy support approach. That's really one of the only ways to actually get a successful 4 escape in reality when it comes down to a situation like this. So let's see how these bans continue. They don't have, not having Mercenary is pretty important. But going with 2 slow decoders right away could also, I mean, I understand what they're going for, but it can also potentially backfire. We're going to see Wildling ban as well. I do like the Wildling ban. We're going to see Officer. So the decoding is going to be extremely slow. They're really just going for hard to chase characters at this point. So they're going for just, but the problem is with going like this is that, you can play hunters that sort of counter some of these. I guess it is a bit hard. And Explorer is the last one. So they're really going, they're just trying to create no good chase targets for Kuga.
Yeah, I mean, it's really tough unless he's able to find the Explorer out in the open, but I'm pretty sure if it's on run or whoever's side, they will be good at hiding it out. And there are some grassy patches, and it's a huge map too, so it's gonna be tough. Especially Kuga does not have his ace in the hole, which is his Nightwatch and Dreamwitch. So what does Kuga bring out to thwart this lineup? Because at least, I mean, no, it's gonna be tough, because also Explorg is actually the X factor in this one, because he just pops ciphers.
Yeah, so this is we've seen similar strategies like this back in, it was like Koa 4, where you go like very slow decoding, where you have like 3 rescuers, 1 explorer, and you just make a very hard chase target. Your decoding is slow. You have Explorer to promote Cypher Rush and also for hiding, so you force him to chase another hunter, and then you go with 3 slow decoders. Like, so we're gonna see Naiad actually from Kuga, which is not a hunter we've seen him play very often at all. So I don't know, because Naiad seems bad against these targets. Like, Naiad's gonna have a hard time chasing Batter. Batter's just gonna wait until you pull back the Trident and then just hit you back, create distance. Weeping Clown, same thing. You just run in the open, away from the water. They pull back the Trident, you just dash away with your rocket. And then First Officer, you don't really want to chase that at all. So you don't really have good chase targets here as Kuga. Maybe he's trying to hope to force out the Explorer, Explorer from hiding with watering off a certain area. But besides that, this comp's not great for Naiad.
You think Quenching Effect Teleport will come into the mix because Explorer's in?
Not with Naiad. Naiad would never really play Teleport. I mean, it makes sense, right? But the problem, well, the thing is, here's the thing: is Explorer actually hides from Quenching. When you're in small mode, Quenching won't reveal Explorer.
Okay.
You can bring Teleport and wait because when you pick up a page, it does reveal your location for a second. So you could do that as the Naiad, but he doesn't spawn near the Explorer. I think Kuga was hoping to spawn near Explorer and then just water him away from a hiding area. But he doesn't spawn anywhere near Explorer. So this is ideal for Utopia. Kuga took a chance that Explorer was one of these two survivors, 50%, I guess like a 50% chance, and ended up not being either of them. So if anything, Utopia, if this strategy that they're trying to go for here, it's already looking pretty good.
Yeah, on paper, right? They definitely have the best start here. At least Run can just like decode her merry way, and also in first stop, so at least they can promote that tram to be used just in case, and he could just tell people that they're gonna take that first stop. So looking at the personas here, again, it's actually Insolence and Detention that will be brought. Two tide turners on Run and Use side, while Rem brings Flywheel as long with Zed.
All right, so we are going to have the second half of the third round, FT Hunter side versus the Utopia Survivors. It all comes down to this, to see which team from Malaysia will move on to the IVS Championship stage. I'm Elio, joined with Potspice, and we will be bringing you the live commentary of this match.
So here we are, folks. Already in the swim form is the Naiad. He's already going straight for that batter, but the batter knows that he just has to be able to once the trident is retracted, that's when he's going to start going for the harassment. But he's watering off a pretty good area here. So now the batter actually already at 60%. He has to move on away, leaving Kuga out in the open here with not much walls to work with. So Zed has to be very careful. He's already on the swim form once again.
Yeah, you do have to be very careful. He's going to go for the vault here, but Zed stays in the water zone there, and he's going to get an early hit there onto the batter. That's really not what you want to see as Utopia. He's going to go ahead and water off the slide here, it looks like. I think Zed's just going to slide early. I mean, that's fine. If Kuga pulls back the trident, you can just hit him back, but he's going to pull back the trident. Actually misses here, so Zed's going to be able to avoid taking much water damage there. Does not have borrowed time, actually. He has broken windows and Flywheel, but he will have this Flywheel to help him against this next water ability.
Yep. Able to get him. Now with Zed out in the open here. Flywheel's the hit, but no! Unable to go through the pallet, so now Kuga has his first down. So, yeah, he can just completely camp off this batter, and it's going to be GG's for FT versus UTP.
All right, so we're going to see chairing near the Clown Cypher as well, so this is really looking good for Kuga at this point. And again, because this down was relatively quick, the Cyphers are slow with this sort of team comp. Additionally, Kuga still has Blink, so the rebound kite is going to be very difficult as well. Looks like we're going to see First Officer coming for this first rescue here using that pocket watch. I don't think we'll see a repeat of last round, but
so
looks like he does, does get the rescue off there.
First Officer at 67%, but Zed already running the routes here. We think Clown's also in the area. Zed has to move on away. He doesn't have the support of the coaster here, the tram. Batter's already at 62%. He's going to try to water him off. The countdown is beginning. The bubble has already popped. Batter is back down.
Yeah, Clown actually wasted a rocket around the time when the officer was going for the rescue. I'm not really sure what the reasoning was there. Maybe he was trying to go for a stun but missed. I don't really know, but it looks like we're gonna see Kuga's gonna go ahead and he's just gonna loop off this entire area, make it very difficult to rescue. Explorer does have 50% page, but they still need a full extra Cypher here, so that forest escape is not looking too likely at this point for Utopia. We'll see the Weeping Clown come in for the save. Was not able to get the water there. He's gonna get the rescue off. Does he get the hit? Gets the hit onto the batter. Through the body block here. The only chance at this point is for the Clown to go for a stun. I'm not sure why the officer's
here too. Yeah, it's so risky, but now the Clown gets popped right away. He's gonna go for the blink, but nice Flywheel, but he's already off to the races with the rocket. So Ram doing a great job, but now he could actually go for the chair.
He's just gonna wait it out.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
goes
he's gonna wait it out.
Oh my goodness. Goes for the hit, gets the terror shock. They had to go for a desperate play here, but now Zed is up. Wow. Okay, he has to be very careful.
Beautiful job from Rem, yeah, to buy that timeout to get the batter up there. Flywheeling that blink, very impressive. We're gonna see batter. He's gonna go in the open here, just trying to push the Naiad back here. He's gonna go ahead and do that. And all of a sudden, they're on to the last Cypher, Poch. Explorer does not have a page, but he's digging it up right now. The last Cypher's 20% of the way done. Clown's back up, which means he can harass. He's got one more rocket to support. Batter goes down. He was not able to flywheel there, and now this is a really tough situation. Oh, yeah.
That's gonna be GG. So my goodness, folks, FT Kuga playing it conservatively with this Naiad. We can call them your Malaysia's division representatives, but we're gonna still play this one out. Let's see if they can get more out of this, because we haven't seen much of Naiad. Kuga use this Naiad. So off to the second rocket chair we go.
All right, so we're gonna see Explorer does have Tide Turner. We also have us over the watch, so we'll probably see Explorer go for the prime here. Cyber Machine is actually about prime because there's that 50% page. So we will most likely see a 3 survivor endgame at this point. Looks like First Officer is he's gonna try to water off the area yet again here, and just make it very difficult for the survivors to escape this. Weaving Clan does have a rocket for kiting endgame. Officer's gonna want to not use a watch, but he's gonna have to actually use it here if they're gonna want to make this save.
He's really watering off the area here. Gets the pop and now gets the down. So he stuffs another First Officer stuffing by another Hunter here. So again, they're really understanding the meta here when it comes to stuffing First Officer rescues. But now at least they can get a one-person escape. Yeah, he could definitely try and chase after Run, but it seems like it's going to be GG's at this point, Eli.
Yeah, we will see Explorer is going to make it out that other exit gate here. And that is going to be, one survivor escape from Utopia. They made it interesting for sure there at the end, but they are going to fall a bit short. And that means that we do have FT as your winner. They do qualify from the Malaysia division here, and they will be advancing to the IVS championship stage here.
Yeah, so congratulations to Kuga, Hishin, Mini Blue, Shadow, Meow, CZ, and Adi. You guys are representing the Malaysia division in IVS. So again, you know what? This is just one match for the Malaysia division, but man, was it an incredible one. Really, I would say they went all 3 games and all halves. So it's a lot you could ask for. And waiting till the last possible game here, keeping us on the edge. So again, a beautiful performance being done by both Survivor faction and Hunter faction on both teams.
Yeah, excellent job overall. Yeah, looking back at that match, I think a big factor was he's able to get the batter down pretty quickly. Usually batter's pretty good at kiting its Naiad. You kind of just run away from the water pool area. If they force you to run in the open, then you just can make distance with using your ball. But he was able to get the batter down pretty quick. Made it interesting at the end. Excellent job from Rem there at the end. He was able to fly with a blink from a Naiad. He was able to give the batter enough time to get back up, but overall just not quite enough time. And yeah, he saw he used the rocket. He went all the way around, did a whole spin, and then stunned him, and then force healed and got him back up. So, but yeah, overall it is going to be Kuga securing the victory here for FT.
Yeah, it was a good effort, I would have to say. I mean, under different circumstances, that was actually an excellent performance, but they had to get a 4-man escape, and they really tried their best to go for as much rescues as possible. But you know what? Team UTP has definitely made a couple highlights for us to work with. We will see them in more competitive tournaments. I hope they do stick together because they're such a strong team. It just so happens that it seems like it's the season of FT because not only did they win IVC, but they did qualify in IVS to represent the Malaysia division. And here we have the match stats, Eli.
Yeah, you see, this is why this strategy does work, where you have 3 slow decoders and then you have the Explorer. 300% of Explorer decoding. Explorer doesn't get found. This strategy does work. It's difficult to chase targets. And then you also have the Explorer who is, just going to be able to hide away and promote that Cypher Rush. So we see 300% from Run there. But yeah, just a little bit short there. Still good overall decoding. They have exactly 500%. So that's something that UTP does very well, is that they're able to minimize the time with decoding, and they're able to, wait, that's not exactly 500%, but close to 500%, a little bit over, but right around that 500% marker. That's just how good the Utopia survivors are at decoding. They're able to, as if you look at your overall decoding progress for a match, and it's 500% or close to that, it means that your Cypher Rush was probably pretty good, right? You're able to minimize the time you transition between ciphers, and you're not forcing yourself to do any extra decoding progress to win. You're getting right around the perfect amount to sort of minimize the amount of time it takes to get to that end game.
Yeah, the rotations were definitely on point, especially how fast the match went for them to be able to push all the ciphers and the exegate. It was actually under, if you look at the chart there, it's like a 5-minute mark. So they really did a good job. I think that's one of Utopia's like signatures, that they're really able to just cover all bases when it comes to cipher progress and really put a lot of pressure on hunters. Again, we only see the camera of the hunter, but I would really love to see like a 4-person view of how they're able to rotate and communicate, like who to take over which cipher. So an excellent performance by UTP, but the winner goes to Team FT. They will qualify for the upcoming tournament of IVS. They are your Malaysia Division qualifier, and again, an incredible performance from the start to the finish. They technically only won 1 round because of how this game played out, because they tied the rest of them.
Yeah, absolutely. So that means that from Malaysia, it is going to be FT moving on. We also have more qualifier matches for you guys. So
yes,
just so anybody who is new to this tournament setting, format. We have 4 different divisions that will be qualifying. So it's the Vietnam division, Malaysia division, Singapore, and Thailand. So tomorrow will be Thailand, and then Vietnam will be on Sunday. And from Singapore, there's only 1 team, which means they already will be secured in that IVS stage.
Speaking of secure, Kuga securing the best deduction MVP award here. Again, the second round, he only got a tie, but hey, if your worst performance is a tie, that's still pretty good in any hunter's books. Again, average elimination at 3, just the beast when it comes to this character. And also, I guess Eli could put in our books that he has a Naiad, a formidable Naiad that was able to get a 3-person kill up against UTP.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's not a hunter we've seen Kuga play almost ever, but was able to perform it successfully today. It looked like, again, pretty good for Utopia in that round, but Kuga able to hold on. We see that Kuga is one of those hunters. He often will have a difficult early game, but his mid to late game has been so strong with every hunter he plays, whether that's Dream Witch, whether that's Night Watch, whether that's Naiad in this case. So as long as he's able to continue like that, it could be very good. Now, I think the biggest thing for him is definitely to improve that early game. Once he's able to work on that early game strategy, the early game approach, he will be definitely a really formidable hunter going into a global stage such as IVS. I think he'll definitely have a good shot against some of these Japan and Chinese teams.
Yeah, hopefully. That's the point of the IVS, the Asian Cup, right? We wanted to see the best of the best from each division kind of duke it out in a big stage. And I can't wait to see what the Thailand division is going to offer, as well as the Vietnam division. Again, you guys got to stick around for that. Again, follow the socials to know the times and dates. I feel like we're going to flash it on the screen on the schedule for tomorrow, but that closes the book for the Malaysian division qualifiers here. And FT Kuga, I mean, big wins on his book from last weekend to this weekend, that he was able to win IVS and secure himself as the hunter for the Malaysia division, Team FT.
Yeah, and so this is, of course, the only match we have for today, but we will have 3 tomorrow for Thailand to see who qualifies, and then 3 on Sunday for Vietnam. So there's 4 Thai teams, right, and 3 Vietnamese teams, if I'm not mistaken. So we're gonna see which team will be advancing there, which team will be qualifying. GH definitely looking like they're gonna want to try to secure that Thailand spot, as they did fall short, fortunately, last week of the championships for IVC. So go ahead, Bosch.
I was gonna say, what's interesting now is, since we're playing with Thailand division, Zhao Khan is actually going to be replaced by someone, so that's going to be interesting to see, because Zhao Khan, definitely shout outs to him being one of the playmakers and really stable rescuers of GH. So big shoes to fill with whoever they're going to choose to fill in his role. I mean, Neru's still there, Lil Boy's still there, and of course Capcoon's there, of course Gajay's there. But yeah, it's still anyone up for grabs in terms of who's going to represent the Malaysia division. And here we have today's results, Eli.
Yeah, today's about 1-0 victory in terms of rounds. Of course, there was 2 tied rounds, but FT did win that first round, so they do go ahead and have that 1-0 victory. So they will be so they will be advancing. So we are up to 2 teams now. FT is going to be qualifying from the Malaysian division, from the Singapore division,
Idle?
which is, I think it's it is SRO is the name of that team from Singapore division. And for those of you wondering, that one of the hunters for that the hunter for the Singaporean team is actually Sneaky. So a lot of people who are fans of Sneaky will be able to see her competing for the Singapore division qualified team in this IVS.
Well, that's gonna be a good one. So we are gonna go to tomorrow's schedule, folks. UTC +7. We're gonna start at 2 o'clock. GH versus GN. Then WP, if you guys have been following the IVA, another team there, versus NIC. Then the winners of the respective matches from game number 1, game number 2 will duke it out in the main event tomorrow at 6 p.m. UTC +7 to determine who will represent the Thailand division.
Yep. So some new faces for of course for out of Thailand here, GN and NIC. WP, a team we've of course already seen many times, whether that's an IVA or IVC. So definitely looking at that, really excited to see how WP is prepared to come and play this event. They do have to take down GH if they want to qualify, and then we also have 2 newer teams as well, which is very exciting too. So I don't know, should be a very good should be a very fun day tomorrow to watch.
Yeah, I'm excited. I can't wait for tomorrow to happen. But that about does it for us here at the commentary booth. Eli, any last words before we sign off?
Yeah, thank you guys so much for watching our match for today. Again, still have many more matches to go in this qualifiers, and after that it continues on to the IVS championship stage with the rest of the Chinese and Japanese teams, as well as the Southeast Asian teams. So thank you guys so much for watching today. Don't forget to be back with us tomorrow for more exciting matches. We will see you all then. Hope you guys have a great day and great night.
Peace out, guys. See you.